This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. The police probing FTX. Securities Commission says the company has no permission to permit withdrawals as FTX files for bankruptcy in the U.S. And it is World Diabetes Day. Today we are talking about the silent killer, what you need to know. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Monday, November 14th, 2022. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strawn. In a moment, Pamela Musgrove will be joining us. Also this morning, we'll have more on the FTX debacle in Morning Blend business. Trying to make sense of it all. It's all straight ahead, but first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, FTX is under investigation by police to determine if any criminal misconduct occurred. Police issuing a statement on this yesterday. It said, in light of the collapse of FTX globally and the provisional liquidation of FTX Digital Markets Limited, a team of financial investigators from the Financial Crimes Investigation Branch working closely with the Bahamas Securities Commission to investigate if any criminal misconduct occurred. Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez says that police have not yet met with former FTX CEO and founder Sam Bankman-Fried. Reports on social media over the weekend alleging that Sam Bankman-Fried, who stepped down as CEO on Friday, had been detained by Bahamian authorities. National Security Minister Wayne Monroe said he did not know about that and said he wasn't aware of this happening. But he said, quote, there is an obligation to submit to questioning by the regulator and provisional liquidator, but that's not the police, and it's not being in custody. It happens in regulated business failures. Meanwhile, the Securities Commission announced last week that it had frozen the assets of FTX Digital Markets. Executive Director of the Commission, Christina Roll, did not respond to a request for comment. NASA Guardian, though, understands that Bankman-Fried met with the commission on Saturday and that he has been cooperating with authorities. The commission has also appointed a provisional liquidator. It said on Thursday that it became aware of public statements suggesting that the Bahamas-headquartered FTX mishandled client assets and mismanaged and or transferred assets to Alameda Research, which is FTX's supposed sister company in the United States. Meanwhile, after filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in the U.S. District of Delaware last week, having its assets frozen by the Securities Commission of the Bahamas and put into liquidation, things have not gotten any better for embattled crypto exchange platform FTX. Shortly after being put into liquidation, FTX said it would, with permission of the Bahamian regulators, facilitate the withdrawal of Bahamian funds, but the commission said it never gave any permission for that and warned Bahamians who made withdrawals that those funds could be clawed back. FTX reported that it was hacked on Friday night, and crypto researchers said more than $400 million in crypto was possibly stolen. On November 10th, FTX tweeted that, quote, per our Bahamian HQ's regulation and regulators, we've begun to facilitate withdrawals of Bahamian funds. As such, you may have seen some withdrawals processed by FTX recently as we complied with regulators. The amounts withdrawn comprise a small fraction of the assets we currently hold on hand, and we are actively working on additional routes to enable withdrawals for the rest of our database. We're also actively investigating what we can and should do across the world. Well, panicked FTX users took to Twitter and any other avenue they could to convince Bahamian users to facilitate the withdrawal of their funds. One user on Twitter said, quote, any FTX employees willing to exchange my account's country of residence to Bahamas to facilitate withdrawal, I'm offering $1 million and unlimited legal fees. DM me. Serious inquiries only. In other news, William Billy McFarland, the creator of the notorious Fire Festival on Exuma that led to a 6-year prison sentence, plans to return to the Bahamas for another event he's calling PYRT, Pirate. McFarland served 4 years before his release earlier this year on the social media platform TikTok. He teased a new venture, which he's calling a treasure hunt, though exactly when it will occur is unclear. On its website, pirate.com, the GPS coordinates for Black Point Exuma are displayed. The website has a splash screen requesting a phone number, encouraging people to, quote, join the crew. And it described Pirate as someone who turns the impossible into an adventure. Police say a man was murdered as he was riding on a moped on Eden Street. This happened on Saturday night. 2 men were riding on a moped around 8 p.m. when they parked by a business on the side of the street in Foster Road. Police say a man in a van pulled up next to them, and an armed man got out and shot both men, only hitting one. The victim died at the scene. The second man escaped unharmed and is assisting police. Police also reported that a man was killed in Rollville, Exuma, on Thursday night. And Public Service Commission Chairman Teresa Delvo says she and another commission member have retained an attorney to help them with the fight, help them fight what they allege is an unconstitutional attempt by the government to remove them from the constitutionally appointed commission. Attorney General Ryan Pinder did not respond to a request for comment last night, though. In a statement, Delvo says that the Public Service Commission has been attacked on 3 separate occasions with unconstitutional communications that, in essence, purport to nullify the constitutional appointments of the board. After the third letter, and now, her words, the lies circulating on social media through a propaganda paper, it was decided that the Bahamian public be notified of these attacks on the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Public Service Commission, and board members and hardworking officers in the commission. Delvo says she and the commission members received letters from the Governor General on December 10th, 2021. The letter, she said, sought to revoke and rescind their appointments with immediate effect. You can read more about this in today's Nassau Guardian. Overseas, From the United States, 3 people have been killed and 2 others wounded in a shooting at a parking garage at the University of Virginia. That's according to the school's president. Police this morning searching for a student who is a suspect. The shooting happened around 10:30 last night and resulted in 3 fatalities. 2 additional victims were injured and are receiving medical care, according to President Jim Ryan. He sent out a letter to the university community, posted on social media. The university's emergency management issued an alert on Sunday night notifying the campus community of an active attacker firearm. The message warned students to shelter in place following a report of shots fired at Culbreth Road on the northern outskirts of the campus. Classes have been canceled for today. The UVA Police Department posted a notice online saying multiple police agencies, including the state police, were searching for a suspect who was considered armed and dangerous. And U.S. President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping opening their first in-person meeting today since the U.S. president took office nearly 2 years ago. They're aiming to manage differences between the superpowers as they compete for global influence amid increasing economic and security tensions. Xi and Biden greeting each other with a handshake at a luxury resort hotel in Indonesia, where they are attending the Group of 20 summit of large economies. This before they sat down for what was expected to be a conversation lasting several hours. Xi says he hoped that they would, quote, chart the right course for the China-U.S. relationship and that he was prepared for a candid and in-depth exchange of views with Biden. Both men entered the highly anticipated meeting with bolstered political standing at home. Democrats triumphantly held on to control of the U.S. Senate with a chance to boost their ranks by 1 in a runoff in Georgia next month, while Xi was awarded a third 5-year term in October by the Communist Party's National Congress, a break with tradition. In sports, the Bahamas outscoring Argentina 29-17 in the fourth quarter last night, but it was not enough as they fell short 80-76 to the fourth-ranked team in the world in the FIBA, International Basketball Federation, America's World Cup qualifiers. Sunday night at the Kendall Isaacs Gym. Leading the way for the Bahamas was David Nesbitt, who finished with a double-double, 18 points and a game-high 12 rebounds. Godfrey Roll III chipped in with 15 points and a game-high 6 assists. In the spirited effort for Team Bahamas. The loss means the Bahamas is eliminated from qualifying for the 2023 FIBA World Cup as they sport a 3-7 win-loss record and sit in 5th place in Group E. Argentina is ahead of them with a 7-3 record. The Bahamas cannot finish higher than 5th place in the group with 2 more games remaining. Only 7 teams from the Americas will participate in the 2023 FIBA World Cup. The top 3 teams in each of the remaining 2 groups in the best 4th place seed. You can read all about it, read more about it in today's Guardian Sports section. And the Bahamas games back on the horizon. The event officially launched on Saturday, culminating a 2-day conclave hosted by the Bahamas Games Secretariat as representatives from the Family Island Sports Council, the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, and sporting federations gathered at Superclubs Breezes Friday and Saturday. The official launch of the event, held at Bahamar, the multi-sport Bahamas Games in 2023 will be dubbed, quote, the Bahamas Golden Jubilee Games. It's set for July 7th through 15th here in New Providence. This is the first time the games will be held in over 20 years, with the last one held back in 2001. This is the 6th edition of the games. Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Mario Boleg, on hand to bring opening remarks at the launch. You can read what he said in today's Guardian Sports section. From the NFL, from Sunday football action, the San Francisco 49ers getting past the LA Chargers 22-16 last night. And from the NBA, Joel Embiid scoring a career-high 59 points, leading his Philadelphia 76ers past the Utah Jazz 105-98. Also from the NBA, Kyrie Irving's return from suspension is still unknown, with Brooklyn Nets coach Jack Vaughn saying Sunday that he had no update on the guard. Irving was suspended by the Nets for a minimum of 5 games on November 3rd for refusing to say he had no anti-Semitic beliefs, and the game against the LA Lakers on Sunday was the 6th game he missed. Vaughn saying that he's just playing it day by day. The Nets said Irving would not return until he satisfied, quote, a series of objective remedial measures. Irving has since apologized on social media for posting a link for a film that contains anti-Semitic material on his Twitter page and for not specifying the topics in which he agreed or disagreed. Irving took to social media again on Sunday, posting, quote, I was not put here on earth to participate in any religious or political wars or incite racial disharmony or prejudice within communities. We are all equal under the sun, and I am here to participate in the building of an equal world and follow the world of the Most High /God/Yah. Nets owner Joe Tsai and NBA Commissioner Adam Silver have both said in recent days they met with Irving and don't believe he is anti-Semitic. That's sports, and that is the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, a prefrontal trough across the central Bahamas continues to enhance shower activity in that area, while a weak frontal boundary is moving into the northwest Bahamas. Boaters should be alert for waterspout or frontal cloud activity, while beachgoers should be alert due to the risk of rip currents along Atlantic coast beaches. For all areas today, your forecast calls for mostly sunny and warm conditions with a few isolated showers or thunderstorms, mainly across the central Bahamas, becoming fair and mild tonight with a chance of a passing shower or thunderstorm. Small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near showers and thunderstorms. Winds northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots, occasionally falling to 10 knots or less in the northwest Bahamas. Easterly at 10 to 15 knots in the central and southeastern islands. Seas 2 to 4 feet across all areas. Temperatures right now, we are at about 75 degrees in Nassau. Look for highs getting up to around 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 72 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. Weather brought to you by the Chick-Charney Challenge. The country's premier obstacle course is back. Run, jump, climb, and claw your way to the finish. The Chick-Charney Challenge, the return. Sign up today at chickcharneychirin.com or call 242-421-8915 today. The Chick-Charney Challenge. You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Morning Blend. We'll be back right here on your home for fresh news, smart talk all day.
How important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Float Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969. Follow us and learn more about everything here on the show there or on Facebook, facebook.com/morningblend969. You can text us, send us your messages there, or text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I am Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Pamela Musgrove.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Bahamas.
Good morning, Pam. Great to see you.
Good to be here.
Hope all is well.
All is well.
We're getting closer and closer
Yes.
to the end of the year.
Yes.
Time is flying by.
Once Halloween is past.
Yeah, you know that.
Just fast forward.
That's it. Wow. Anyway, hope everybody's
But it's
done all the
good.
things,
It's
right?
good.
Yeah,
It's-
sure,
It's
it
the most
is.
wonderful time of the year for many persons. I
Oh,
imagine
boy.
that some people don't like this time of the year, but then that's fine. It's the most wonderful time of the year for many of us.
So they keep telling us. But that's great. That's great. We keep it positive, as
Yes.
they say. An optimistic spirit will make it easier to get through the next few weeks of chaos and madness. But hey, all right. So we have a lot to get to this morning, including I mean, can you keep track of it? That every day there's a new development. Every few hours is a new development, and you don't know which one is. Wait, does this really happen? But the whole FTX saga, we're going to try to make sense of it all a bit now, and a lot more in Morning Blend Business. We'll get to a lot of that in our 9 o'clock hour. And also this morning, we're going to be talking about diabetes, what is often called the silent killer. It is a major problem in the Bahamas. Today, actually, is World Diabetes Day, and all month long, folks are trying to get awareness about diabetes out there for Bahamians. So many people have it and don't know that they do. And we're going to tell you what you need to be looking out for and what you can do to prevent yourself from being someone who has to deal with this. So that's all straight ahead on this Monday morning. Let's begin, though, with what's in the news. And in the news, boy, the big headlines in the papers, and it's the headlines in papers all over the world, hey? But police probing FTX. Securities Commission says company has no permission to permit withdrawals. Another headline in the National Guardian, FTX hacked. Files for bankruptcy in the U.S. Yep, and the Tribune's headline, criminal probe of FTX launch. And then it says, while F&M wants to know if the government was left exposed. Interesting, though, right next to a picture of Sam Bankman-Fried, there's a picture of Billy McFarland, the Fire Festival fraudster.
He's back.
He is back. And back with the Bahamas in his sights. So... we just are a magnet, it seems. Anyway, all right, so we'll get back to Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX and the drama there in a bit. But let's take a look at this really quickly. Fire Festival, the National Guardian reporting on this as well. Fire Festival creator launches new Bahamas event. Seriously? What's going on here? Our Travis Cartwright Carroll writing about it. Billy McFarland, he was the subject of how many different documentaries were there after Fire Festival, the disaster. The creator of the notorious Fire Festival on Exuma that led to a 6-year prison sentence plans to return to the Bahamas for another event that he's calling, I think this is Pirate. It is P-Y-R-T. Pirate. McFarland served 4 years before his release earlier this year. Wow. On the social media platform TikTok, of course. He teased a new venture, which he called a treasure hunt, though exactly when it will occur is unclear. On its website, pirate.com, the GPS coordinates for Black Point Exuma are displayed. The website has a splash screen requesting a phone number. It reads, quote, join the crew. A pirate is someone who turns the impossible into an adventure. After entering a phone number, the user will receive a text message that contains a link to a website requesting your contact information. A second link contains McFarland's phone number and email address. Entering your contact information brings up a screen that reads, quote, be on the lookout for a text with your first clue. Further videos on TikTok show McFarland explaining the event. He says he will hide 99 bottles with an X mark on them all around the globe. His latest video features people who found a bottle enjoying water sports in the Bahamas. According to Deadline, McFarland is taking part in a new documentary called After the Fire that will focus on his next business venture and attempts to pay back the $26 million he still owes. $26 million. Wow. Fire Festival, the doomed destination concert event that never took place, was the brainchild of McFarland and American rapper Ja Rule. The festival was scheduled over 2 weekends in April and May in 2017, right here in the Bahamas. It was promoted on social media by various influencers, and ticket buyers were promised an exotic island adventure with luxury accommodations, gourmet food, the hottest musical acts and celebrity attendees. However, when concert goers arrived on Great Exuma on April 27th, 2017, they were met with total disorganization and chaos. The festival was set up on the site of a housing development next to two major resorts. Only a model home was at the site, which was the headquarters of the Fire Festival. Remember the gourmet food they got? I think it was white bread, sandwiches, and what was it, bologna? Can't remember.
We have a magnet for fraudsters.
Yeah, it's like we're just flashing the lights at them.
Yeah.
We have a bat signal.
We need to check that out. We need to check that.
Joker signal.
We need to check it
over
out.
our.
Maybe
over
we
our
don't
islands.
notice it.
Yeah, we
but
can't. See
yeah,
it.
we
Well,
can't. Yeah, we don't
some
notice
of
it, but
us can't
it's
see
happening.
it.
So we need to get to the bottom of
But
that.
they see it and they hear it. They're drawn. It's like, do you hear that? I must go to the Bahamas. Yeah, so it's Attendees were told they would be staying in luxury tents. However, the tents were FEMA disaster relief tents. The festival happened. You can't. No matter how many times you read it or see it, it's still hilarious. Wow. The festival happened at the same time as the annual Georgetown Regatta, and accommodations on the island were booked out. Roughly 3,000 people flew down for the event. They were taken to a restaurant by the beach and plowed with alcohol. Is it plowed? Okay. Anyway, and food by all day. By late evening, they were taken to the festival site where chaos ensued. None of the major musical acts showed. Thousands demanded refunds and headed for the airport in Georgetown. Oh, my, what a horrible time. But yep, you're back. Okay.
Maybe not back. This is what he's saying, but the deputy prime minister said that he doesn't know anything about it. What needs to happen is he needs to be banned from the country. They need to put him on a list. Mm-hmm. I don't care if he's coming to vacation. He needs to be banned.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
From the country.
And can we tell him never to put our name in his mouth?
No, we can't say that. We can't make him not mention our name. I think these are all teachable moments, and we have to learn from them. And every time we look back at the documentary, then that reminds us what we should not or should be doing to prevent something like that from happening again. I think just need to be banned, and there needs to be a statement out there from our Ministry of Tourism that this is incorrect. I think what happened is we don't have a good marketing regime in this country to refute things that people out there are saying about us. You may have some Bahamians on Twitter or on social media making statements, but we need to have official country statements because our reputation is very important.
Absolutely.
And once that is destroyed, because the person out there watching that does not know the Bahamas, is not familiar with the Bahamas, is just going to take what somebody out there is saying. So we need to have a well-oiled machine.
And they need to act quickly.
Yes.
Because this is a bad look, right? If anybody picks up a paper today and sees Sam Bankman-Fried next to Billy McFarland and the Bahamas, this looks horrible. What
in
next
the
do you
eyes
need to
of
have
many
there?
people out there, Dwight, we're a joke.
Yeah.
We're a joke.
Including people here.
And people come here because they feel that they could get away with certain things. That's the perception out there. So we need, the Ministry of Tourism needs to send a statement that this is incorrect, and he's not doing any ventures here. And we need to make a statement as it relates
quickly
to Sam Bankman.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can't sit and be quiet like we do in-house. We do that a lot. We can't comment because it's an ongoing investigation. No, people are out there talking about us. And in a lot of cases, they're not being truthful. But if we keep our mouths shut, then whatever is said out there will be carried as truth.
Absolutely. Let's get your reaction to this. Pirate, and then we can get into FTX again. Somebody's saying, it is pirate. It is pirate. His logo now, Pirate Billy, is the skull.
Like to play on words with
bones.
Fire Festival. He's having fun
pirate.
with this.
He's a pirate. We're pirates. Everybody come and have fun in the pirate kingdom. Sure, we get it.
He has nothing to lose. He's been in jail and he's out. He needs to make money. He has nothing to lose.
They say his logo is a skull and bones and the Bahamas flag. And the Bahamas flag. Really? Oh, dear. the man is telegraphing who he is and what he's doing. These crooks come to the Bahamas because they know that there are corrupt people in positions of authority who will gladly facilitate their schemes for the promise of a payment. Yikes. That is terrifying.
It is the perception of some.
Yeah.
And the question is, what are we going to do to dispel that this perception?
Yep. Getting a lot of your text messages. We'll get to more of those in a bit. Let's get to this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. How you doing?
Hi,
Good
doing well.
morning.
Good morning.
Great. You don't have to look to the good old Paris or FDS. Just look around all the shanty towns that's just in our faces. And so, yeah, I agree with the commentary that you guys said, that people come here and look at us as a joke. It happens. It's happening. It's been happening. So I agree with you guys. And I think the authorities and the people, as people, we need to expect more or demand more or march or do something from our leaders. Hang up on this.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's disturbing, yeah. Text messages. This person says, here, foreigners see us as a conquered republic. Serious skullduggery always seemed to happen under... So anyway, no, it doesn't matter which party's in charge,
Yeah.
Texter. Doesn't matter at all.
I think we show our desperation. And so we don't do all of the check and balances that needs to be done prior to, and then it's not ongoing. And we have a problem with this locally.
Yeah.
When we say we have a lot of laws on the books, the problem is enforcement of the laws.
Always.
If you look at the legislation for this industry, it looks pretty on paper. The question is, do we have the expertise to monitor and enforce that law?
Yeah. Wow. This text here, how is the Fire Festival guy able to come back into the country and do business?
He's not back. I don't think he's back.
No.
We need to ban him. He does not need to come back, not even for vacation.
Yeah.
He does not need to come back.
They're saying the country already has a black guy from the festival, now FTX, and now he's back doing business. Well, again, it's not quite that, but he's promoting something. He needed to be banned from the country after scamming those people of Exuma. If the guy who fought the employee of BPL got deported, for the same can happen to Billy.
We need to start a list. Start a list.
Can the Fire Festival guy be prevented from doing business there? Of course.
Yeah.
This one says here, I don't know what they're saying with this company. Why are they naming this company? They were saying once they saw Sam Bankman-Fried in shorts, they were unsure. I'm editing. Unsure of where that would go. Okay.
I just think that was his signature. You know, like the what's the guy named with Apple? I just can't remember.
Oh, Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Had
You
the
know,
black
black
turtleneck or
turtleneck,
whatever.
and the Elizabeth Holmes lady who was frauding people with the healthcare thing. It's a signature.
With
You
the
know,
exception
and
of Steve
you
Jobs,
know
these
what?
names aren't good that
When
you're
you
calling.
appear to have money, it doesn't matter. You can come in Speedos. People will chase after you because they want that money.
Especially here.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
You see, that's the challenge. When you flinging this money and you throwing this money about, people just run after you. So no matter how you dress, no matter how old you are, 30,
Unless you're a Bahamian, then it matters a
Well, for some of us
whole
it does.
heck of a lot.
Some of money talks. For some, money talks. You get money, you throw it around. You get perks. Privilege.
This text here, if the government of the day let this fraudster back into the country to do mess, they might as well call the election.
No, I don't think they're going to let him in. I hope not. I don't know if there's anything to prevent him from coming in, but I hope not. He's just out there. I just trying to attract followers using the Bahamas name, but we need to make a statement. We need to make a statement and flood social media airwaves that, no, he is incorrect.
Yeah. Man, Dwight, stop making jokes. These are serious times. Say the man coming out of prison and launching a pirate event. I'm rolling on the floor. And they go on to say, launched an investigation into FTX. Does this remind you of anything? Remember the court order to prevent Nygaard from moving his assets from the Bahamas? The police reported that they tried to enforce the order, but the gate was locked. A week after the money gone down the black hole, they started the investigation yet. And perception, Pam, you forgot the Oban, Kruger, and the CEO deal.
Yeah.
Everybody knows we are for sale. Just find the right lawyers and the right connections.
Yeah.
Eek.
So it shows on both sides, eh?
Yeah.
And the problem is us. The problem is us.
This one says, gangsters and suspects see our beloved Bahamas as Mikey of the world. Hey, Mikey, he likes it. Well. Let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Pam.
Good morning.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're here.
Good.
That's good. I got a question. All of the illustrations that people have put forth this morning, right, about why the world may see us as clowns. I don't think it's a lack of enforcement power, I think that there are a lot of people on the ground that benefit ridiculously from the deficiencies that exist. And which is, for me, all the more reason to truly push for a Freedom of Information Act that has some teeth. And I think that's maybe why some of the powers that be on that interested, they toss it around during election time, and then it gets buried until the next election.
Yes. See, the challenge, the challenge is the people responsible for ensuring that we have the freedom of information don't want it. Because this was going on. I remember this from round about 2000 and when did Mr. Ingram? 2012. That was the election in 2012. Earlier 2012 was when I think it was tabled. And then that was under the Ingram administration. He first introduced it.
Right.
It was tabled in 2012. And then the Christie administration said there were over 100 changes.
Yeah, there were flaws in what
that had to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Minnis administration came in, and at the last minute, they appointed, the problem was appointing the commissioner. And then they appointed some retired, I think, police or so, or the lawyers or to be the commissioner. They didn't have it properly staffed. They needed some time. And we are here at 2022. That's over 10 years ago
but,
that we have started this process.
Pardon my interruption. It is incumbent upon us, right, to insist, to demand, because whenever these entities come in, they do what it is they need to do. We're talking about loss of assets again. What was the insurance company that left a bunch of behemoths holding the bag?
Clico.
Yep.
What about the others with the sale, vendors, behemoth businesses that went down on account of the former Crystal Palace deal, the deal in Freeport against Sumar, whatever that was? Then we must demand, honestly and truly, or insist, any foreign entity here looking to invest, we need a little bit of safety. Everybody asks for collateral. And if you decide to leave, there's something untoward, the people that you owe here on the ground, they get their monies because we're constantly being left to hold the bag. And it's impacting our quality of life. It's expensive enough to go ahead and take on more burden for these foreign entities coming in and practicing nonsense. But thanks for allowing me to contribute.
Absolutely. It's a long list. Long list. It's sad and growing because as someone texted earlier, we don't seem to be learning from the mistakes. We're not learning from the mistakes.
No, because we're not assessing it. See, when I believe when you succeed in something, when you fail in something, you have to do a review.
Yeah.
To see what happened and what you can do to improve upon it. We're not doing that. And I go back to what I say. We have the legislation on the books. The problem we have is enforcement and monitoring. We have a cell phone legislation that came out. How are you going to determine if I'm using my cell phone while driving? How are you going to determine if I run the speed line?
Is that still against the law? Because it clearly,
clearly, and one time I was driving downtown, and this lady was booked for it because the police was right there.
No, that's
and she has a cell phone up.
Yeah.
That's the only way you could really, that's the only way you could really get caught.
I've seen officers driving by on the phone.
I do it. I shouldn't, but I do it because I feel the chances of me getting caught.
Oh, really, Pam?
I mean,
you're a pirate.
No. When there's an emergency, you can't help it. So I may pull up my phone. But what I'm saying, right? If someone were to come and look on our books, they would think we look very impressive. But then we don't take the next step. And how are we going to monitor this to ensure that it's enforced? That's where we fall down on.
Yep. 6 more calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. Morning, Pam.
Hi, good morning.
Firstly, let me concur with the previous caller. Many things that he stated was spot on. Here's a couple of things that we need to take in consideration here. You know, I've been a hotelier for most of my life, all right? And I can tell you in the hospitality industry, there was we in the hotel can attest that there are many times we heard stories where when an investor comes here and their presidents and CEOs and all that stuff comes in, and they have their other buddies who want to come and do business here. The information about corruption, the information about us being a friendly people, but our officials are corrupt, that is well established in that community. I've actually heard one of the investors who came here over my many years in the hotel actually expressed that directly in our faces. So that's nothing new. You know, our destination, although it's a tourism destination, it goes back to this mere fact. Who is vetting these persons to come in and have these events here? And also, what's even more importantly, who are these attorneys and lawyers and law firms that represent these people when they come here? Obviously, they can't just come here and set up an event. Who's doing the due diligence to keep the black eye and the stain off the Bahamas and the Bahamian people? A lot of people aren't taking this thing serious. But we, as a people who once were regarded as proud and patriotic, we are now looked down upon as, you know, easily manipulated, coming in here, doing what they want to do, make the money that they want, pay off who they need to pay off, and then leave. We need to fix this problem. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So we want to say it again. The Tribune's reporting that the Deputy Prime Minister, Chester Cooper, said he's not aware of any application before the government for any venture at all. I would have liked if he had said, and we wouldn't be open to that at all either. That would be good for him to say that outright, and he shouldn't even waste his time applying.
They're going to allow that. I honestly don't think they're going to. I just think they need to make a statement. We cannot continue to sit quiet and allow the narrative to gain momentum and run away, because that's our reputation on both of these events, on any event that happens, and that's on social media or it's on the world hazard. You know, I read something and I read an article by CNBC. You know, that's a business station, right, and everybody watches it. And they were talking about how, you know, they were tracing monies that were withdrawn from FTX in the Bahamas. In the Bahamas, right? And so that narrative is out there. Make us look, and we don't have anything as citizens to do with this, you know?
Right.
It's nothing to us. We just trying to make a living. We just trying to work hard and do our best for the most part to make a living. But that narrative is being said about us. And I think they need to get to the bottom of it and make some statements out there.
Yeah, as quickly as possible. Let's take another call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi.
This thing with FTX, I hear a lot of people saying about how corrupt our country is, right? The brother man being doing business in the United States, right? The Miami he plays, he had naming rights to that, right? He been in other countries doing business, right? Most governments, Bernie Madoff, good example, right? He was scamming people for years. The United States have the SEC and all them other federal agencies. They take years to find out that the brother was scamming people. It took them years, and not only him, but many others. We acting like the fella came here, and Bahamians was helping him directly, besides his employees, or the government was helping him carry out his scheme. When he transfer his money, because that's an ongoing business, federal agencies and police authorities around the world, they usually find out about a crime after it's committed. They don't be monitoring these people 24/7. Every single transaction they do, they get somebody watching, because that's highly impossible. Now, when things hit the fan, then everybody is act like, oh, we corrupt and we shouldn't let the brother man come here. We shouldn't let this person come here. If he doing business in the United States, all over the world, when our government do the due diligence, they get their people, presumably, and I think our country do have people who's look and check certain things with these people. If they see the man have a business, this business just started a couple of years ago, this practically almost like a new business. I don't think they've been in existence for 5 good years.
They were in Hong Kong. They just transferred from Hong Kong last year to the Bahamas.
Right, but how long they was in business? I think they formed right before the pandemic. He formed that company right before the pandemic. So why are we making it seem like our country is so different? We get corruption all over the world. Corruption is what runs the world, from politics to business. That's
Sure, we get what you're saying, but a lot of people are saying that, the issue is that people feel that he intentionally moved, perhaps, to the Bahamas because it would be easier to do certain things.
See, I think the challenge is
business in the United States,
Yeah.
The brother Marcellus companies in the United States.
He had a company in the United States. I think the challenge is
the major business.
The challenge.
We keep painting ourselves, right? We keep painting ourselves with other people's brush that they won't put on us.
No, I don't think so.
I can speak for myself. I was a Bahamian, and I ain't gonna let CNBC or any of them talk would be corrupt, and the United States is the most corrupt country in the world. Okay? Just an example of the last president they had. Okay? Who should be in prison from a long time before he became president. Filing for bankruptcy is a normal part of business. We had companies in this country who filed for bankruptcy. But what we need to do as a people is we need to stop the crookedness that we ourselves do in this country that cause our country to not prosper and to operate the way it should. You're talking on the cell phone, the shanty towns and the illegal connections that people do, the paying people underhand to do things for them personally. We don't see those things. We don't see when we individually doing corrupt things, but we see when other people doing it. The Bahamas ain't no different from no other country, and we can't escape people coming here. At some point in time, if 1,000 people come here, probably 1 or 2 of them could be crooked. You can't duck it. And you can't monitor every transaction everybody doing. That was an ongoing operation. The only way they find out, just like with Bernie Madoff, something that they're going wrong. Other than that, the company was still being run and flowing, going on. But the man decided he won't be corrupt, He's the one.
Well, we got to be careful with the words. We got to be careful with the words. But
problem,
mistakes were made. But what exactly, we're not sure yet. But whatever it was, lots of money has been lost.
Yeah, and the problem is it's our reputation. Mm-hmm. It's our reputation. And with Bernie Madoff, he was caught. And he is now serving, well, Bernie Madoff.
Right.
Right? So the question is, where's SPF? And that's the challenge. People appear to be able to do these things in our country and get away with it. Mm-hmm. And it takes the bigger country, the more mature countries or developed countries to bring charges when we are affected by it predominantly. Yeah. And that's the challenge. There should be a
the regulators
system.
Here, right? All eyes on the regulator here and all the regulators here. What are you going to do now that this was happening in a country that was based
I know you have to investigate, but since this all happened, according to the Minister of National Security, they haven't spoken to him. Where is he? To find out exactly what's going on. Did they have an interview with him? Did they tell him, okay, don't leave the country?
No.
Because we're investigating. That's the challenge with a lot of what's going on. Yes, there's corruption all about, but when you find it, the guy with the Fire Festival, right? He spent time in the U.S. for fraud. What happened to us?
The crimes happened here.
What happened to us?
Yep.
Shouldn't there be a warrant? When he come out of the U.S., he should come over here.
As soon as you come for your little pirate party, you're arrested on the site.
That's the challenge that we have.
Yeah. Good points. We're going to take a break. We'll get to your calls and more of your messages after the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas.
As you know, I'm committed to keeping the lines of communications open between you and me personally, but our governments across the board.
President Biden has been meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Bali.
The world expects, I believe, China and the United States to play key roles in addressing global challenges from climate changes to food insecurity.
Residents of Kherson have been greeting Ukrainian troops arriving in the city as liberators. President Vladimir Zelensky joined them today, hailing the Russian withdrawal as the beginning of the end of the war. He walked the streets just hours after warning the Russians may have left behind booby traps and mines. In Washington, Congress returns to work today and to an extremely volatile post-election landscape. Donna Warder takes a look.
Newly elected members of Congress arrive for orientation today after Republicans suffered one of the most disappointing midterm elections in decades, and control of the House is still undecided. On Tuesday, the GOP hold closed-door leadership elections. Democrats did better than expected in the midterms, keeping narrow control of the Senate, but they too face leadership turmoil as the GOP pick up House seats toward majority control. In addition to the turmoil on Capitol Hill, former President Donald Trump is expected to announce his 2024 presidential bid on Tuesday. Donna Warder, Washington.
A shooting last night at the University of Virginia has killed 3 people and wounded 2 others. Police are searching for a suspect they say is considered armed and dangerous. The university has canceled classes for today. At the University of Idaho, police are investigating the deaths of 4 students as suspected homicides, their bodies found yesterday in a home near the campus. This is AP News. The 49ers throttled the Chargers last night. Correspondent Ryan Leong.
San Francisco's defense shut out the Chargers in the second half as the 49ers hang on to a 22-16 win. Elijah Mitchell returned after missing 2 months with a knee injury, rushing for 89 yards on 18 carries. Jimmy Garoppolo was 19 of 28 for 240 yards.
Just the maturity of our team, especially offensively, just how we stuck together. You know, it wasn't pretty early on, and they were doing some things that gave us trouble, but we stuck with it and got the W.
For Los Angeles, Justin Herbert was 21 of 35, passing for 196 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. The Chargers have lost 3 of their last 4 games. Ryan Leong, Santa Clara.
2 overtime games yesterday. The Packers beat the Cowboys 31-28, and the Vikings overcame the Bills 33-30 in a wild finish. Tonight, Philadelphia hosts Washington, the Eagles undefeated so far this season. I'm Ben Thomas, AP News.
7:38, time for your first look at traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. Get a loan with RBC and don't pay until February 2023. In your real-time traffic this morning, we are seeing, as usual, that heavy traffic on Milo Butler Highway. It is from well south of Fire Trail this morning, all the way up to about Tonic Williams Darling Highway. Seems to be thinning out, though, the closer you get to the roundabout. Not sure what's happening there. Maybe there is traffic police directing, but it's definitely the heaviest as you are just leaving the Fire Trail roundabout and approaching Harold Pond. So keep that in mind this morning. Over on Gladstone Road, that's a much better alternate route for you, much better traffic flow there so far this morning. But JFK Drive is backed up between Tonic Williams Darling Highway roundabout and the roundabout at Bahamar Boulevard and Gladstone Road, especially westbound, but also eastbound this morning. And northbound along Prospect Ridge also looking busy for you at this hour. The six-legged roundabout seeing some issues northbound from Milo Butler Highway up to that roundabout. Elsewhere, we've got Eastern Road, heavy traffic well east of Sans Souci and especially near Fox Hill Road on the way to Johnson Road, but still busy as you make your way to Shirley Street as the road is still being worked on there with Village Road, and that is a challenging area to be near, so avoid it if you can. Pockets along Prince Charles Drive as well near major intersections, especially Beatrice Avenue and Soldier Road, and Robinson is busy between Soldier and Old Trail. And we've got Soldier Road looking busy for you on the way to Bernard Road this morning, northbound. Marathon Road also busy northbound this morning. Some of the streets are wet. Keep that in mind as you make your way about. But that's your Morning Blend traffic brought to you by RBC. This Christmas, apply for an RBC personal loan at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan. And we've got another check of your weather for this morning. We've got a prefrontal trough across the central Bahamas that will continue to enhance shower activity, while a weak frontal boundary moves into the northwest Bahamas. Mariners should remain alert for waterspout or funnel cloud activity, while beachgoers should be alert for rip currents along Atlantic coast beaches. For all areas today, forecast calls for mostly sunny and warm conditions with a few isolated showers or thunderstorms, mainly across the central Bahamas, becoming fair and mild tonight with a chance of a passing isolated shower or thunderstorm. Small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near showers or thunderstorms. Temperatures getting up to around 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 72 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. In your extended outlook, the weak frontal boundary is expected to stall over the northwest Bahamas tomorrow and then slowly dissipate while high pressure builds across the islands behind the front. So for tomorrow, Tuesday, partly sunny and warm with a chance of a few isolated showers, becoming fair and mild at night with a chance of isolated showers. Wednesday, partly sunny and warm with a chance of a few isolated showers, becoming fair and mild with a chance of isolated showers. The tropics are quiet. Tropical cyclone formation not expected through the next 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's the most rewarding time of the year. Come down to RBC. Get a loan to buy whatever. RBC makes it better. Get a loan and don't pay till New Year.
Make Christmas what you want it to be with a personal loan from RBC. Apply at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay till February 2023. Conditions apply.
Get a loan and don't pay till New Year. To RBC.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Biggie Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.25, VAT inclusive. Add an apple pie for just $1 more.
Say what?
At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
If you were exposed to COVID-19, have symptoms, or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit one of our convenient locations on New Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the 3 Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Abaco at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The COVID-19 test results are free.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Happy holidays! Nassau Tile is having its Christmas sale. That's right, from November 21st to November 26th, you can save up to 25% off selected ceramic tiles or up to 60% off selected items. And take 20% off store-wide on all tiles, thin-set, grout, and mosaics. Our tile experts are ready to guide you in selecting the right tiles for your kitchen backsplash, living room, bathroom, walkway, and patio. So don't miss your chance to spruce up this holiday season. Call 322-2100 or visit our showroom at 43 Daswell Street and save big with Nassau Tile, where the world is at your feet.
Fidelity, we're good for you. I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Always say you love me, but you always make it all about you, especially when you've had a few. Oh yeah, all the things I heard from your ex, now they make a whole lot of sense.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Pamela Musgrove. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to be talking about diabetes in the Bahamas. It is World Diabetes Day today, and diabetes is known as a silent killer all over the world, and a big, big, big problem here in this country. We're going to get into that in just a few minutes. Just want to get through the rest of your text messages and take the rest of your calls. You can continue to call in 323-6232. 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. This text here, you all let that young man come here and suffocate your financial sector like it was nothing. I don't feel bad for us. I hope the USA and the EU sanction us for being stupid. What now? Wow.
No, don't rest that on us.
Wow. Okay. When we know we don't have adequate crypto specialists here, I guess they're trying to say. Now we will see how Mother Russia feels. Well, who are you, texter? Are you okay? Anyway, we put up a front like we know so much when we barely know anything. Well, the crypto world is new to everybody.
Well, I think that was one of the challenges. What we probably should have done was import some expertise. That would be a challenge.
But even that, I mean, everybody's finding their way with this. It is such a new sector, new field. We're seeing stuff like this, right? I keep saying it. Others say it too. Wild, Wild West, like very much so.
But with any new legislation, you need to determine how you're gonna monitor it in order that you enforce the legislation.
Yeah.
And maybe we did. I don't know. Maybe we have persons in country that can assist or that have been assisting us with monitoring and enforcement of that space.
Well. This person says this is the same texter. The country is the home for corruption and bad business. And McFarland will continue to give the nation another black eye. We're not learning from our mistakes, but making the same mistakes for 49 odd years. Another one, we are well known as a nation for sale. Boy. I have to correct some misinformation. First, the Freedom of Information Act deals with government dealings only. It would have no application for private persons. Freedom of Information Acts never deal with private people in any country. Did someone say that?
No, but that's incorrect though. Do you listen when journalists apply for information on cases, not only government cases? You watch the news. Follow the US and the UK news. When journalists apply for information, they get it because that is far-reaching. It's not specific to government. Now, our legislation may be just specific to government.
No, I
but you can get personal information generally on clients and customer account. But generally speaking, that information is divulged.
Yeah. The person also says FTX was licensed as an exchange, which is not like a bank. I have been working with the Securities Commission for more than a year to have a foreign company licensed. Okay. Anyway, this person says here, that caller had a great point. I asked last week, I want to know what the regulator was required to do and what they actually did. I think many want to know the same thing. Will they speak? We've extended invitations to them, but I guess they're very busy right now trying to deal with this, clean up this mess, and figure out what exactly has happened. But hopefully we'll hear from them soon on this. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
This is Strachan away for law with you, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Guys, Dwight and Pam, the brother was right, See, the thing is, government, just get those people to come into the country and have nothing in place to govern or to charge them by the law if anything go wrong. Just like Bahama. Look at that situation in Bahama, right? They were saying all kinds of things about the guy what first established Bahama, right? But look what he had done. He had tipped the people to court, and look what he's doing now.
Okay. Well, he had what now? I don't know what you're saying. Okay. Anyway, good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning to you, Dwight. Good morning to you, Pam.
Hi. Good
morning. Dwight, Alan Johnson. I just want to make a point, right? This FTX affair is going to continue to grow at least for a number of weeks, if not months. But I want to say that if we look at this, we have one of the greatest opportunities of all time to redefine and reshape the conversation concerning the new digital reality of business around the world. You literally have tech giants, leadership struggling to find out exactly where technology is going because of a major convergence of what we call different evolutionary periods, each one. The first convergence revolution, the analog and digital mergence, second digital, third technology, fourth industrial, fifth social revolution, caused by COVID, including behavior. You see the hit that Facebook took in the billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars. All of this is a struggle across all various different platforms. So we have the opportunity because we are one of the only countries in the world, and people have heard me say this for well over a decade, that can provide constitutional data protection, constitutional data privacy, and constitutional data sovereignty, which with the proper laws would have literally act as a stopgap between this not affecting FTX or the people. If we understand what it is. I've said also that we don't have data laws, nor we have digital laws. We have laws that refer to data. We have laws that refer to digital. And I think that if we look at this as an opportunity to create a jurisdiction, you also had me say it, and the National Guardian carried an article, I think a year or two ago, concerning the Bahamas and digital preparedness, which is not digital utilization. And I think that within us here locally as well as in the diaspora, we can turn this around to become one of the most powerful things and a powerful opportunity. But we have to also look beyond the conversational. The conversation we're having is on the surface about what he did and whatever he did. We have to look at the technology, the underlying technology, exactly how he did it, why he did it, and all the other...
And what exactly he did, which I don't know ever is clear about. Thank you, Sam. We're going to talk more about this in our 9 o'clock business hour, so call us back. Please, I just want to read these messages as we go to the break. This person says here, the caller who made the point about investors who talked about Bahamian officials who are corrupt. The point he didn't make is that the investors who give the corrupt Bahamian officials are just as corrupt. No country squeaky clean, not that I condone corruption. Okay. Let me get it straight. Bankman is being questioned by police and is not in police custody. What is the difference when a local allegedly stole funds and is in custody assisting police versus Bankman being questioned? Why is he not at CDU again? They are doing an investigation into FTX, so let's stop calling our country corrupt. It seems a good investment to many. Let's stop calling ourselves corrupt. Just stop it.
I think the question is what happened afterwards. Like one of the texts says, no country is squeaky clean. But what happened afterwards? I think that's the challenge. Mm-hmm. And if this is something where we do nothing, and then the U.S. gets him, mm-hmm. and the U.S. questions him and put him through the system, then that's another failure on our part.
Yeah.
What happens after this is all discovered?
This other text here, some of the largest firms in the U.S. invested in FTX. All G7 countries invested and have a presence with FTX. A stadium has a relationship with the firm, not for much longer. So stop criticizing the Bahamas, Dwight, and encourage us to clean the dirty properties, road rage, gun imports, and Lyford Key and other open ports.
Criticism isn't always bad, you know. Criticism is pointing out stuff that we have to make better. And like one caller or one texter mentioned, that's the challenge. We are not doing better. Mm-hmm. What we have to do is learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
So what are we going to put in place after this happened to prevent something like this from happening again?
All right, we got to go to the break. When we come back, as we said, World Diabetes Day, we're going to be talking about it. Stay with us.
Turns out they were right. It takes two to make it all go right.
It's the most rewarding time of the year. Down to RBC. Get a loan to buy whatever. RBC makes it better. Get a loan and don't pay till New Year.
Make Christmas what you want it to be with a personal loan from RBC. Apply at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan and don't pay till February 2023. Conditions apply.
Get a loan and don't pay till New Year. To RBC.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Link up with BTC. Did you get the speed bump? All BTC subscribers with a bundled fiber connection receive the speed increase. Totally free and totally automatic. It's just another way of ensuring that we are delivering best value to our customers, keeping them on the leading edge of everything awesome. Link up with BTC to get your speed bump today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com to learn more.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
It's always my fault and your short views. Just like a time bomb, and I think you should take a second just to look at your reflection, baby, maybe.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with Pamela Musgrove. This is going to be a brief tease just to whet appetites as we go to the news. But this morning, as we've been telling you, it is World Diabetes Day. And here to talk about this and the work they're doing, very pleased to welcome Dario Charlton and nurse Anita Cates. Great to have you with us. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
We're doing well. We're doing well. Hope all is well with both of you.
Good morning.
All right, so let's get it straight. Who you all are representing? Dario, you are with the Bahamas.
I am representing the type 1 wonderfuls out there. I'm a type 1 diabetic and representing my experience and those like me who may be suffering from diabetes and hoping that they can understand that there is a possibility to live with diabetes and thrive. That's what I'm representing.
Wonderful. And Nurse Cates, what about you?
I am representing the diabetes educators in the Bahamas, and the organization I'm affiliated with is ACE Diabetes, which stands for Awareness, Compassion, and Education for those who are affected by the condition.
Okay, we're going to break for news. When we come back, we're going to talk with you all. A lot to talk about. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's Monday.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:19, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We have a prefrontal to the central Bahamas that continues to enhance shower activity, while a weak frontal boundary moves into the northwest Bahamas. For all areas today, your forecast calls for mostly sunny and warm conditions, with a few isolated showers or thunderstorms mainly across the central Bahamas, becoming fair and mild tonight with a chance of a passing isolated shower or thunderstorm. Small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures today getting up to around 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to around 72 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. In your extended outlook, the weak frontal boundary expected to stall over the northwest Bahamas on Tuesday and slowly dissipate while high pressure builds across the islands in the wake of the front. So for Tuesday, tomorrow, partly sunny and warm with a chance of a few isolated showers, becoming fair and mild at night with a chance of isolated showers. Wednesday, sunny and warm with a chance of isolated showers and thunderstorms, becoming mainly fair and mild at night with a chance of isolated showers. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas, and still the first and only local insurance company and agency network that lets you buy car and home insurance 100% online. Try it at bahamasfirst.com. 8:21, time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. Get a loan with RBC and don't pay until February 2023. In your real-time traffic, we've got a lot of serious issues to talk about. Heavy traffic, very heavy this morning. Eastern Road looking like a mess today. The traffic is backed up even well past San Suzy. Almost to Winton Highway. You don't normally see it that far back, but you're having some real issues getting on to Eastern Road, and it goes all the way up to Johnson Road, and still, once you get past Johnson Road, it's still going to be that heavy traffic near Village Road and Shirley Street, as the work that continues in the area is impeding your traffic flow there, so major delays on Eastern Road. You might want to avoid Eastern Road if you can. Where you will go, that remains a big issue as well, because Bernard Road is seeing heavy traffic if you can get there, and Prince Charles Drive also seeing issues near Elizabeth Estates and near the major intersections like Foxhill Road, and especially Beatrice Avenue and Soldier Road, and that's extending onto Robinson Road on the way to Old Trail. So good luck to you in Eastern, your Providence. We're seeing heavy traffic on Village Road and Soldier Road this morning, both directions. Again, if you can avoid the area, you definitely want to, but if you can't, well, I don't know. Good luck. Saunders Beach, heavy traffic there, eastbound on West Bay Street as you approach the roundabout with New Providence Highway. Heavy traffic in multiple directions there, northbound on New Providence Highway, eastbound on West Bay Street. Six-legged roundabout in multiple directions as well, heavy traffic there. And Mila Butler Highway from Fire Trail all the way up to Tawny Williams Darling Highway. Heavy traffic in the northbound lanes. Tawny Williams Darling Highway also seeing issues near the roundabout with Bahamas Games Boulevard. That's eastbound and westbound. You'll be seeing that. Independence Drive is very challenging for you, westbound and eastbound this morning, between the roundabouts at East Street and Blue Hill Road. Blue Hill Road and East Street both seeing issues. Northbound, heavy traffic this morning. Carmichael westbound to Coral Harbor Road also heavy for you, as is eastbound to Blue Hill Road. So good luck. You will need lots of patience this morning. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC. This Christmas, apply for an RBC personal loan at rbc.com/Caribbean/loan. We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Pamela Musgrove. We are talking with nurse Anita Cates and Dario Charlton about diabetes in the Bahamas and on this World Diabetes Day. Okay, so Dario mentioned it, type 1 diabetes, and we know there's type 1 and type 2. Before we get into the differences there, let's talk about diabetes in general. Just how big a problem is it here in the Bahamas?
Good morning. Well, I actually have a little bit of a pop quiz question for you. If we look at the adult population in the Bahamas, we're looking about 290. So if we just take the adults, how many thousands of people do you feel have diabetes in the Bahamas in accordance with the International Diabetes Federation?
Oh boy.
Just a guess?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, guess. Yeah.
I say 60 to 70.
60 to 70,000
percent.
Well, do
there's
that.
290
No, I'm
cases.
talking
So do it in
thousands.
numbers. Do it in the numbers. What do you think that
Numbers,
is?
thousands.
Pam's going on her calculator to work that out.
290.
I would guess. I was going to guess 70,000, maybe. No.
I think it's higher than that.
Yeah, you're a little bit high there, but I know where you're going with this. We're looking at about 27,000.
That sounds okay.
27,000 of 290,000 adult population?
Yeah. So we're looking, I mean, I can't extrapolate the figures, but we're looking at about 9% of the population.
Wow.
And I do want to say
That sounds low, though.
But that's not bad. I mean, that's not bad.
It's not bad. About 10. Well, what we haven't spoken about here are those are the people that we know about. Right? So you might actually be closer. And this is when it kind of gets scary when we're looking at those higher figures. Because there's also a condition you mentioned about type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes. There's also pre-diabetes, right? This is the condition that you get before you get type 2 and even type 1 that we might not even know about. So I actually think that the numbers are probably much, much higher.
Right.
So
than
your
what we
numbers
think.
are based on what? Your numbers are based on persons who have come to your establishment, or is there a centralized place where these numbers are being compiled?
There is a centralized place called the International Diabetes Federation. And you can go online. They have something called a Diabetes Atlas. And these figures have been taken from 2021.
Okay. And how are they getting information on the Bahamas?
I have no clue.
Oh, boy.
I have no clue. But exactly. So, yes, it's very, very interesting. But just going on to what you were saying a little bit earlier is that 90% of that is going to be people with type 2 diabetes. But in Dario's case, with type 1 diabetes, he's probably going to take up about 10% of those numbers.
Okay, so let's break down the differences. Type 1 and type 2, how that works.
All right. So in Dario's case, he has a condition where it's an autoimmune condition where the body actually begins to cause problems with the pancreas. It starts to attack the pancreas where these little cells no longer make insulin. So Dario needs to take insulin or he will die. His body just does not produce insulin anymore. In the management in type 2 diabetes, what happens is that there's still insulin being produced, but the body can no longer actually use the insulin. So the outcome is exactly the same. Type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes have an elevated blood sugar, but for different reasons.
And there's nothing that he did to cause that. That he was born with that. Type 1 diabetes.
Type 1. And this is a confusion. And I'm going to let Dario just pop in here as well, is that there's absolutely nothing that Dario could have done, his parents could have done to have prevented him from getting diabetes, type 1 diabetes.
Right.
And we're still looking into this, you know. We still haven't got all the details on how to prevent type 1 diabetes. Dario, what are your thoughts on that?
I think you're exactly right. It doesn't matter what's done. I think when it's going to come on may be the difference, I'm guessing. But type 1s don't have, we don't have a choice. We don't have the privilege of changing our diet and our lifestyle in order to curb that onset.
Right.
But I also find, I mean, for me, I am being a type 1 a bit easier because, you know, you're able to calculate and do some things that can be a bit more exact. It's the way I feel. But I think Bahamians have a misconception that if you have type 1 diabetes, you have the worst form, or, you have diabetes bad, when it's just the genetics. It's what you were, quote unquote, blessed with.
When were you diagnosed? When was it clear that was what you were facing?
Back when I was in college, I was 19 years old when I was diagnosed. So lost a lot of weight, about 30 pounds over the course of about 2 months. Using the restroom like 6, 7, 8 times in an hour. Constant thirst. I mean, I was drinking everything in sight, thinking, you know what, maybe I should drink beers because, I don't drink, so maybe that's what's going to quench my thirst. It's just that the knowledge and education about diabetes was in there. But thankfully, I had a very close family member who was a diabetic and understood those signs and symptoms and woke me up one morning and took me in, to get tested. And my sugar was 550.
Wow. Now, what does that number mean? What should it have been?
Between 70 and 100.
Oh, gosh.
And so, 550 is a telltale sign. Now, it doesn't automatically say the type of diabetes that you have or whatever, but it does identify that you need further testing and a formal diagnosis in order to be able to treat you. And so I was immediately admitted to hospital and, like so many others, having to go through this process. And, the process itself wasn't, for me, it was a bit, knowing what I know now, it was just a bit too generic. Take this amount of insulin, eat food this amount of times per day, and that's it. And, that didn't help me in the way in which I've learned to kind of live with my diabetes. And so that's the difference. And we're hoping that with the education and the awareness that we want to bring forward, more people can learn to live with their diabetes as opposed to suffering from it.
Let's talk more about that, how you've lived with it. Folks who listen keenly to the show will recall that you were on recently, Dario Charlton, when we were talking with folks who are visually impaired, and how the impact this is having on your life.
Yes. So, lucky enough for us, insulin was created about 100 or so years ago. And over the last 10 years, the type of insulin or the technology behind insulin has been advancing in tremendous strides. And so you have insulin that are, they are better for your body. They act on the foods that you're eating quicker. Some of them come out of your body even quicker. And so that's the medicinal side of it that technology has changed. There have been things like insulin pumps and insulin pens that have made the injection process and delivery of that insulin a whole lot easier, and, kind of helping a diabetic to have to make less decisions along the course of the day. And then, of course, there are things like continuous glucose monitors, or CGMs, which can be inserted in the upper arm or that helps a diabetic be able to tell exactly what their sugar level is, the direction in which it's headed in, whether it's steady or it's going up or down, the speed in which it's headed in, and it helps you to plan your day and plan your regimens a whole lot better. So you're able to not be in a position where you're caught off guard. You go and prick your finger and you check, and now your sugar is too low, and so you're facing a different medical complication. Or you go and prick your finger, and now your sugar is too high. And so now you're left at a position where you have to find a way to treat it and hopes that it come down, because a prolonged period of your sugars being too high has its own variations of complications. And in my case, I've suffered one of those, which is diabetic retinopathy. So I'm now rendered legally blind.
My goodness. When did that start to happen for you? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so for most diabetics, and I want to give a disclaimer. I am not a medical professional, but I am speaking from anything I say should not be taken as medical advice. But for most diabetics, especially type 1s, if you've had the disease for more than 15 years, you're going to have some complications. In my case, after my 17th year, thereabout, I started to experience some floaters in my eyes. And, that graduated to a level of night blindness. And by the time I was able to get the proper diagnosis, I was already experiencing proliferative diabetic retinopathy, meaning the little film in the back of our eyes, or the nerves in the back of our eyes, were damaged by irregular blood vessels that have grown. Those blood vessels hardened and kind of pulled back at the retina, which ruptured it and caused my visual impairment. And as you can imagine, nerves being so delicate, once those are destroyed, there's no coming back.
And they were destroyed because of the high level
Of sugar, correct. A prolonged period of high blood sugars. And with diabetes is a type of disease where once damage is done, it can be done over a period of time. There's no reversing that damage. So I could have had some damage a few years ago and then some more damage a few years later, and it only adds to the challenges that you may have had. So some diabetics may be out there with a level of retinopathy that's not impacting their vision, but they don't know that they're going through it. And that's why it's very important for us to ensure that we check our eyes at least once or twice every year.
So with you being type 1, if you had found out earlier, would that have had a positive impact on your eyes?
Found out about my eyes earlier?
Found out about your type 1 diabetes earlier?
When I was diagnosed back in 2005, and I've just started going blind last year. So, no, it may not have made the difference. What would I met Nurse Cates and the team at Family Medicine Center earlier in my journey with diabetes, it would have helped me to kind of manage it better, to live with it as opposed to suffering it. I suffered from diabetes for many years. And then I met the team at Family Medicine Center, who was amazing for me.
Wow. Curious, Dario, you say legally blind. Just explain your vision, what you can and can't see right now. How does that work?
So out of my right eye, I am completely blind. Your level of blindness is determined by your best vision. My best vision is in my left eye, which at this moment is about 20, I want to say 800, possibly worse. So I can see some shapes, lights, some kind of movement in very bright light. But, once it begins to go dark, so these days at 4:30, I'm almost helpless.
My goodness.
So can that be reversed in your left eye? Or that's
unfortunately, at this time, technology hasn't reversed it.
So eventually you're going to be...
Not at my stage.
Okay. So you're going to... Eventually you'll be blind.
Correct. Because of the way in which the damage happens, and with the blood vessels being damaged, the nutrients and oxygen that I need to be delivered to the back of my eyes is being done so very slowly, if at all. And so eventually the remainder of those nerves continue to die off.
And how old are you now?
I'm 37. I'm very young. Yeah. Young father. Young in my, no, not young in my career, but, I've made some career accomplishments, and now I am basically retired, living off government assistance. So, one of the things that I really think can work better for us, in which government can find a way to help alleviate the stress on government benefits and the like, is to find ways for people to be able to have better access to proper diabetic care, education, eye screenings, medication, and technology.
Absolutely. Nurse Cates, how common is it for eye issues like this? We know it's a lot of people who have these problems, but percentage-wise, perhaps, who will end up having vision impairment?
Loss of vision is definitely one of the major complications of diabetes, and its sister if you will, is actually kidney dysfunction. If you tend to have a problem with your eyes, you tend to have a problem with your kidneys as well, and hopefully not in Dario's case. So although I'm not aware of percentage-wise, I don't think we actually have that data. What I can tell you is that the levels of complications associated with diabetes is very, very, very high. And this is where the burden comes in. And Dario mentioned something super important, and this is what the IDF are focusing in on. This is what I've always focused in. It's this is not rocket science. Dario mentioned that if he had had proper education right from the beginning, he might not have been in the position that he's in. You know, education is the backbone in the prevention and the management of diabetes and the prevention of complications. So there is this bright light at the end of the tunnel where you can actually make a difference, make yourself better by learning about diabetes. And I actually saw some numbers the other day is that diabetes management is 90% you. 10% is your healthcare professional, but 90% is your self-care. And I feel as though if you don't know how to take care of yourself, how are you going to make things better? So diabetes education is imperative for individuals, families, and the country as a whole.
Yeah.
How much of discipline is required to properly manage diabetes? Because I mean, that may be the problem. Initially, to get, on the right path and to be consistent with it.
I can give it a go. And I think the difficulty with the discipline is the fact that culturally, our cuisine and our lifestyles are a bit more relaxed and also very carb healthy. I mean, not carb healthy, sorry.
Heavy.
Very carb heavy. Very, very carb heavy. Macaroni, mashed potato salad, peas and rice, all of the good stuff filled with carbs. And carbs is what is broken down into glucose, and of course, all of it is just sugar. A lot of people think that, only if you eat ice cream and cakes, you're getting sugar, but, you can sit down and eat a bag of potato chips and it's filled with sugar. You can sit down and eat an apple for some people, or an orange in my case, and spike your sugar level. So sugar is in most of the things that we eat. And so it's difficult when you've only made a change to our diets. Culture, our entire diet needs to be changed. So I don't think that's going to happen. But I think if the education is there, people learn to do things in moderation, and that kind of helps. So discipline is very important. And knowing your numbers becomes the ultimate importance. So, I think that discipline really, is difficult for us.
Right. All right. So that comes in when we're looking at type 2, right? So Dario was telling us about his situation, type 1, and that's genetic. That's very little you can do about it. But the other part, and this is where discipline comes in, is type 2 diabetes. And our lifestyles, that's contributing to these high numbers that we're seeing here. And even among children now, which used to be a very unusual a few years ago. Is that right?
So let's kind of dig into this a little bit more. So there are things that we cannot change. So let's just look at that for a moment. So things that we cannot change. Increasing make you more insulin resistant and more likely to get type 2 diabetes. We do have this family connection, whereas if mom, dad, brothers, sisters have type 2 diabetes, you are more likely to get type 2 diabetes. The other thing is being of Afro-Caribbean descent, again, you are more likely to get type 2 diabetes. Again, none of this is your fault, right? This is just your genetics. And the other one that seems to be popping up even more and more is women in pregnancy who have type 2 diabetes and do have unmanaged blood sugars, unfortunately affect the fetus or the baby to the point where that baby is more likely to have type 2 diabetes when they grow up. So if your mom had type 2 diabetes in pregnancy, that's not your fault. If it was out of control, you were more likely as an individual to get type 2 diabetes. Now, other things we can change. This is my role, right? This is, okay, how can we make things better? And Dario's quite right. You know, culturally, and it's not just the Bahamas, right? It's all over the world where we're seeing this influx of carbohydrates because it's cheap, it's cheerful, and we love it, right? There's no two ways about it. So I'm like the bearer of bad news when it comes down to diabetes and pulling back on those delicious carbohydrates. But if we can teach in a way that, yes, you can actually really enjoy your mac and cheese. Yes, you can really enjoy these wonderful things that you love, but in a managed way. And I can teach you to watch your blood sugars and find out, and this is what I love about what I do, find out what works for you. So you might have a little piece of that mac and cheese that you love, or you might have the peas and rice. By learning how your blood fall, you can make a decision whether that's good for your diabetes or not. So you can kind of tweak it a little bit. And that is the education that I want to bring across to people today, is that yes, you can live with diabetes. You can enjoy the foods that you love, but let's do it in a way where you know 100% where you're up to with your blood glucose level.
Right. And
So
type
totally
2,
possible.
type 2 is reversible, right?
Yeah, it is.
So
If you're strong-willed enough, absolutely. And I see it every day. This type 2 tends to be easily reversed if it is brand new. So if you're just diagnosed, and we can say, okay, right, let's look at your overall health. So we were talking about things you can change, decreasing the carbohydrates, making sure that you're including exercise in your diet. As well as your diet. Looking at the possibility of taking medications to be able to support your body in that. We can make some huge differences and reverse that very, very quickly. But we like to call it's sort of in remission, because as soon as you go back to drinking all those sugary drinks, your blood sugars are going to go out of control again.
Yeah.
So it only stays in remission when you're actually taking great care of yourself by watching your blood sugars, eating less carbohydrates, and exercising.
My father died at 56 from complications brought on by diabetes.
Wow.
So it runs in my family. My mom is 80, and she's lived with diabetes for a while, taking her medication and making those small changes. And I was told around about 2014 that I was pre-diabetic. And that was to come. That's how I felt when I left, because the doctor at the time said, you cut out the juices. I said, I don't drink juice, just drink water. I don't drink juice, I don't drink milk. So she made me feel like, okay, I'm gonna get this. And then I got a book that was talking about it's extreme, so I didn't follow it, but it's the 800-calorie diet. It was about diabetes and show how, this thing can happen because of the choices that you make. And it has a lot to do with lifestyle and stuff. And so I started to put that into practice a bit, not the extreme 800-calorie diet, but try to watch, because I feel that for me and carbs, it don't work well.
Yeah.
So I really have to, not that I do it all the time, I really have to limit it. And so when I go to get my annual, I ask my doctor, so am I pre-diabetic now? And I'm not.
That's great.
I'm not pre-diabetic.
Yeah. But
I want to know what's the correlation between hypertension and diabetes, if there is any.
I'm so glad you asked that question. And yes, they do tend to hold hands. And we do find that people who are more at risk of diabetes, more likely to get high blood pressure, and those people with high blood pressure are more likely to have diabetes. I am so sorry, but I don't actually have the technical background in that. But I do want to say, there is a correlation.
Yeah.
What the background is to that, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, keep that in mind, right? With your salt and sugar intake. This is so many of us affected by this. My mom's father, my grandfather, died blind. He was blind, and my uncle as well died recently and was blind from diabetes. It is in our family as well. And so just always keeping that in mind. The symptoms that you talked about, Dario, for type 1, are they the same symptoms if you are an adult and developing type 2 diabetes?
Basically, I'll let Nurse Case
Yeah.
speak to it, but basically they are.
Yeah.
Hey, just give me 1 second. I'm coming back. Well, I'm gonna let it.
Okay, she's dealing with that. But basically the same.
So basically, the onset of it happens similarly with type 2 diabetics, and this is just speaking from experience. Again, I have some very close family members that are type 2. They tend to go through that motion a bit longer than a type 1 before they, are triggered to say, let me go and check to see exactly what's going on. So they may likely be pre-diabetic or following those steps as being a type 2 diabetic, at least a year or so before, some of them take it serious and say, okay, let me check with a doctor or go and get an annual and realize that their sugars are out of whack. A type 1 diabetic, because of the total lack of insulin, our bodies start to waste away. And so the symptoms come on to us a bit more severe and quicker. And so we are likely drawn to go into a doctor, or in some cases, some of us may fall out from diabetic ketoacidosis and, be rushed to a hospital only to find out that this is what's going on with us. So, that extreme thirst and inability to quench that thirst, that constant feeling like you need to go in, use the bathroom, and so you're at the bathroom multiple times per day, and you're noticing an extreme loss of weight over a short period of time. Some people, you may have this fruity odor in your breath. All of these are things, increased appetite. All of these are things that says, go and check up on yourself. And, with the implementation of NHI, and I think if we can get, even more Bahamians to go ahead and register and take advantage of it, they have an opportunity to, monitor their health and have a team monitor their health and really be able to be a step or two ahead of it. I knew over the last few years that exercise, was becoming so much more popular, seeing so many more people on the highways, exercising and the likes. And if we can only start these healthier aspects, starting to embed those into our culture, I think we become so much more of a healthier nation. And like they say, the health of a nation is a wealth of a nation.
Absolutely.
Like,
I know that you have to go.
I know I meant to send a hello to you from John Benjamin. And John celebrated 48 years of being a type 1 diabetic the other day.
Wow.
He wanted to say hello to you.
That is wonderful stuff. There's a lot happening. It's World Diabetes Day. Tell us about what's going on today and what you're going to be rushing off to do.
Yes, so PAHO and WHO are actually putting on a symposium today for World Diabetes Day. The theme is diabetes education. Like we said, it is very important, not only here in the Bahamas, but around the world. We are seeing the benefits of increased education and increased awareness around diabetes. And so we're going to be in a symposium just about the entire day, really learning more about what we can do in this field, in this hemisphere, or within our country, to really help and push the education around diabetes. There are a lot of misconceptions, and if we can get the right information out there, we can really help a lot of people that are currently living with it, or a lot of people that are potentially going to be diagnosed with diabetes.
Where is that happening and what time?
It starts at 9 a.m. It is going to be at... I'm trying to remember the church's name. It's on Soldier Road.
Yeah, if you go onto ACE Diabetes Facebook page, or if you search for the Bahamas Association of Diabetes Educators, the information is on there. I believe it's one of the churches on Soldier Road, or you can actually go online as well. And they're Zooming today. So you can also do it from the comfort of your own home.
Wonderful.
But yeah, off the top of my head, I forgot. I'm going to have to Google that.
Yeah, I know it's Anglican churches right there.
Oh,
That's the
okay. So it's
There you go. Thanks, Dario.
Oh,
and
my
then
goodness.
the other
What's that
thing,
church?
can I
Holy-
share with you what exciting things are coming up just before we go?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all righty. So this side Kelly's, we can do a nice meet and greet. I do have some information on something called Zoom In on Diabetes. This is our free educational session that we have every month online. So that's free. And you can tune in from the islands too, which is really, really nice. And then on Saturday morning, check this out. We have sponsored by BAF Financial. We have Dance for Diabetes. So if you go onto their Facebook page, you will see you can log in there, you can register, and at 6 o'clock in the morning, we're just going to be having so much fun. We're going to be dancing for diabetes. We're going to help to reduce our risk of diabetes, as well as helping to manage our blood sugars. Dario and I also have some more radio shows coming up, which I'm super excited. It's always awesome to hang out with Dario. And
Sure is.
There are education sessions that are happening all the time. So it's just important that you log into Facebook, check out ACE Diabetes and the Bahamas of Diabetes Educators, and it's for free. And you can do it from the comfort of your own home. But hopefully we will see you Saturday morning and with BAF for the Dance for Diabetes.
You mentioned
and that should be
You mentioned NHI, and I read recently where there were about 150,000 persons that were registered by NHI. So this will be a good way to find out the amount of persons that are registered initially through NHI with diabetes, and then probably from that information, work with the government to have a national campaign about diabetes, the education of diabetes, what you need to look out for, and how you can manage it.
Yeah, I am hoping that this is going to be the start of a new season. It's not something we can ignore. I think it's kind of been the white elephant in the room, so to speak, where it's just been ignored. It's been shameful. Nobody's kind of known what to do, and the blame has always been put on the individual. Oh, you're not eating right.
Right.
And that's it. But I really feel as though with NHI, with other opportunities for education and supportive healthcare, as well as education for healthcare professionals too, we can make a difference.
All right, so
like
that's Holy Cross. Holy Cross is the name of the
Yes.
Soldier Road Church. That's this morning. And wonderful stuff. And again, we can look up ACE Diabetes for more information on for all the information. Thank you, Dario Charlton, for sharing your story with us. We're praying for you, wishing all the best for you. And Nurse Anita Cates, wonderful talking with you. Thank you so much for sharing this information. And happy World Diabetes Day to you and to everybody. Thank you
As
again.
happy as can be. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.
Yes, you too. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're going to take a break, folks, and be back with a whole lot more. We're going to be back with Morning Glen Business and more on FTX in just a bit. Stay with us.
And at the beginning, I do be artillery. I don't get it, and you should too.
Yeah, simple truth. From the mouth of the babe, we are digging a grave with a knife and a fork. Then we move on. Most of the maladies are self-inflicted. Omit the junk food, candy and biscuits. Soy and corn should be highly restricted. Breaking down the body to pieces, impeding the pancreas, causing diabetes, cancer, and many autoimmune diseases. Hard chemical is the prevailing thesis. Take back your health, do it for yourself. Take back your
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development 764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Hey, Bill, glad to see you back in the office.
Who?
Bill.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think you're mistaking me for someone else.
Tom.
Nope.
Jack.
No.
Alex.
No. Want me to just tell you?
Nope, I got this, George.
No, you don't. Still not me.
Adam.
Not even close, man.
We're like a coworker that didn't forget your name. CG Atlantic Agents and Brokers. Good like that.
Okay, good to see you, Mike John Sean.
It's Mordecai.
Okay, class, let's begin today's history lesson. Ancient civilization used to visit stadiums to watch musicians perform. It was called a live concert.
Teacher, what year was that?
Researchers believe it was around 2019. Normal life feels like a long time ago. As things return to normal, remember it is essential to be fully immunized against preventable diseases like COVID-19, rubella, polio, hepatitis, mumps, and influenza. This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Caribbean Development Bank, the Government of Canada, and the United States of America.
Happy holidays! Nassau Tile is having its Christmas sale. That's right, from November 21st to November 26th, you can save up to 25% off selected ceramic tiles or up to 60% off selected items. And take 20% off store-wide on all tiles, thin-set, grout, and mosaics. Our tile experts are ready to guide you in selecting the right tiles for your kitchen backsplash, living room, bathroom, walkway, and patio. So don't miss your chance to spruce up this holiday season. Call 322-2100 or visit our showroom at 43 Daswell Street and save big with Nassau Tile, where the world is at your feet.
Get a merry makeover this Christmas from Scotiabank. Apply for a Scotiaplan loan to win a home renovation. This Christmas, unwrap the celebration. $3,000 for your home, new lamp, new decor, new couch that you
Win
own.
a $3,000 home goods gift card when you apply for a Scotiaplan loan this Christmas. We're giving you the gift of a low interest rate and up to 2 months with no payments. Plan the perfect Christmas with your Scotiaplan loan. Use it for any purpose, plus benefit from flexible payment terms. Apply for a Scotiaplan loan now to enter to win a merry home makeover.
It's been 35 years since Custom Computers was founded, and we'd like to celebrate that milestone by thanking you, our clients and customers. You've inspired 35 years of expert service and support, partnering with the world's leading brands like HP, Apple, and Microsoft. We take pride in setting the bar for what you expect and deserve from a homegrown Bahamian business. We're here to serve you when you need us, so call 396-1101. Custom Compute 87.
Florida Auto Parts can deliver all the auto parts your car will ever need, direct from the USA and from around the world. Florida Auto Parts provides fast delivery on auto parts, and we ship throughout the Bahamas, genuine or aftermarket, new or used, and all for the best price. Call Florida Auto Parts Trusted Parts Rep on WhatsApp at 1-786-772-8777 to save on your next auto parts purchase. Florida Auto Parts, the right parts at the right price.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays finally have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on Monday, November 14th, 2022. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Pamela Musgrove. And this morning we are continuing the discussion about FTX, what's happening there, getting you up to speed on it. This is a fast developing situation. Every few hours there's something new. But we'll get into what we know so far today. So, numerous articles in today's papers about what's happened, especially over the weekend, and so we're going to get you up to speed on that. A lot of this I don't understand. Pam, you are in the financial services sector, so you'll understand a little bit better than me.
There are a lot of it. Like, I don't understand if FTX was an exchange, how was it holding clients' asset?
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
So there, and some of
If
these
you
terms
got a
are
license for an
right.
exchange. How is it that you are concerned about withdrawals or pulling out clients' asset?
Yeah.
What was going on? Were they operating outside of the license, or did they get a license to take
Many
on
questions,
clients' assets?
and we've been seeking to get some answers from the regulators. We've invited the Securities Commission. They are telling us that they are right in the middle of it right now, trying to figure out what is happening, and so not quite available to speak, but we do hope they understand and appreciate they do need to talk as soon as possible to the media to let people know what's going on and what their role is and was, right? What were you responsible for? What were you supposed to be doing? What are you doing? How does this work exactly? And what comes before you and what comes before the U.S. authorities and what's what, just so we all understand. But let's get you caught up on the very limited today's Nassau Guardian. All right, so police are probing FTX, or Jasper Ward writing about it. FTX under investigation by police to determine if any criminal misconduct occurred, according to police yesterday. We're told by a statement that was released yesterday that, quote, in light of the collapse of FTX globally and the provisional liquidation of FTX Digital Markets Limited, a team of financial investigators from the Financial Crimes Investigation Branch, working closely with the Bahamas Securities Commission to investigate if any criminal misconduct occurred. Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez said yesterday that police had not yet met with former FTX CEO and founder Sam Bankman-Fried. Reports on social media over the weekend alleged that Sam Bankman-Fried, who stepped down as CEO on Friday, had been detained by Bahamian authorities. But National Security Minister Wayne Monroe, when asked about this, said, quote, I have no knowledge of him being detained. There is an obligation to submit to questioning by the regulator and the provisional liquidator, but that's not the police and is not being in custody.
Do we know if the regulators have spoken to him as it relates to this situation?
I'm not certain. I don't know. The Securities Commission of the Bahamas announced last week that it had frozen the assets of FTX Digital Markets. Executive Director Christina Roll did not respond to a request for comment yesterday on the dollar value of the assets frozen by SCB. Securities Commission. But the Nassau Guardian understands that Bankman-Fried met with the commission, well, there you go, on Saturday, and that he has been cooperating with authorities. The commission has also appointed a provisional liquidator, as we told you last week. It said on Thursday that it became aware of public statements suggesting that the Bahamas-headquartered FTX mishandled client assets and, quote, mismanaged and or research, which is FTX's supposed sister company in the United States. The commission said that any of those actions would have been in contravention of normal governance without the consent of the company's clients and a potentially unlawful move. That same day, FTX tweeted, quote, per our Bahamian headquarters regulation and regulators, we have begun to fill funds. As such, you may have seen some withdrawals processed by FTX recently as we complied with the regulators. It said the amounts withdrawn comprised a small fraction of the assets it held on hand. FTX said it was actively working on additional routes to enable withdrawals for the rest of its user base. Now, responding to this statement on Saturday, the Securities Commission advised that it had not directed, authorized, or suggested to FTX Digital Markets the prioritization of withdrawals for Bahamian clients. It said in a statement, quote, the Commission further notes that such transactions may be characterized as voidable preferences under the insolvency regime and consequently result in clawing back funds from Bahamian customers. In any event, the Commission does not condone the preferential treatment of any investor or client of FTX Digital Markets Limited or otherwise. And then FTX filed for bankruptcy in the U.S. on
That
Friday.
Bahamian client sounds misleading. When they say Bahamian clients, are they talking about or are they talking about clients who of FTX that were a part of FTX Bahamas? Because the Bahamian client is making it seem as though these were Bahamians or Bahamian institutions
And they're still
that had invested. And so if you're a Bahamian institution, I know you need the central bank's approval to invest in the foreign market.
And we're told individuals are not allowed at the moment to take part in this type of activity.
So that seems confusing. Is it clients that were a part of FTX Bahamas or actual Bahamian clients?
Many questions. All right, so that's one story. Then there's a story on FTX claiming that it was hacked and filing for bankruptcy. Our Travis Carter-Carroll writing about that. After filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in the U.S. District of Delaware last week, having its assets frozen by the Securities Commission of the Bahamas and put into liquidation, things have not gotten any better for embattled crypto exchange platform FTX, headquartered here in the Bahamas, as you know. Shortly after being put into liquidation, FTX said it would, with the permission of the Bahamian funds, but the commission said it never gave any permission for that.
See, that's why they should have held him. If they'd spoken to him.
The police.
Yeah, they should have held him because he's going out there publicly saying with the permission of the exchange. And the exchange is saying locally that they never gave any permission for that. He should have been held for that.
Yeah. The commission said it never gave any permission and warned Bahamians who made withdrawals, here we go again, that those funds could be clawed back.
See, Bahamians, okay, so Bahamians were invested. Okay.
And how and why?
Yeah, that's interesting. That is interesting.
Well.
Bahamians were invested. Bahamians, if you're a Bahamian and you got that money, we're going to take it back from you. What if you're a foreigner and got that money? How are you going to get that back?
Well, this part is very interesting here. Listen to this. FTX reported that it was hacked on Friday night. Crypto researchers said that more than $400 million in crypto was possibly stolen. On October 10th, FTX tweeted, quote, per our Bahamian headquarters regulation and regulators, we've begun to facilitate withdrawals of Bahamian funds. As such, you may have seen some withdrawals processed by FTX recently as we complied with regulators. The amounts withdrawn comprise a small fraction of the assets we currently hold on hand, and we are actively working on additional routes to enable withdrawals for the rest of our database. We're also actively investigating what we can and should do across the world. Now, panicked FTX users took to Twitter and any other avenue they could to convince Bahamian users to facilitate the withdrawal of their funds. What now? One user on Twitter said, quote, any FTX employees willing to change my account's country of residence to Bahamas to facilitate the withdrawal, I am offering $1 million and unlimited legal fees. DM me. Serious inquiries only. What?
And
in
this was on
God's
social
name?
media.
Well, you know, these are all talk about pirates, right? Right, Billy McFarland, right? Boy, everybody's okay. On November 12th, the Securities Commission said it never gave any withdrawals. It said, quote, the Securities Commission of the Bahamas notes the statement made by representatives of FTX, which advised, per Bahamian headquarter regulation and regulators, we've begun to facilitate withdrawals of Bahamian funds. As such, you may have seen some withdrawals processed by FTX recently as we comply with the regulators. The Commission wishes to advise that it has not directed, authorized, or suggested to FTX Digital Markets Limited the prioritization of withdrawals for Bahamian clients. The Commission further notes that such transactions may be characterized as voidable preferences under the insolvency regime and consequently result in clawing back funds from Bahamian customers. In any event, the Commission does not condone the preferential treatment of any investor or client of FTX Digital Markets Limited or otherwise. Yes, okay. That same day, FTX Group's new CEO, John Ray III, a veteran Wall Street bankruptcy lawyer, also confirmed that the company had been hacked on Friday night in an attack that saw over $400 million in crypto drained out of the exchange's wallets.
But that's a drip in the bucket compared to the 6 billion black hole that they have to fill. So that's nothing.
Consistent with their obligations as Chapter 11 debtors in possession, FTX US and FTX.com continue to make every effort to secure all assets wherever located. This is according to Ray. He said, quote, among other things, we are in the process of removing functionality and moving as many digital assets as we can be identified to a new cold wallet custodian. As widely reported, unauthorized access to certain assets has occurred. An active fact review and mitigation exercise was initiated immediately in response. We've been in contact with and are coordinating with law enforcement and relevant regulators. Well, so as part of the challenges they've been facing, FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried, who's only 30, he lost his $16 billion fortune in less than a week. He resigned on Friday. Twitter was afire Saturday morning with bogus reports that Bankman-Fried was on a plane to Argentina. He told Reuters that he was still in the Bahamas, though.
That's good.
In court documents filed in Delaware last week, FTX said it lost between $10 billion and $50 billion. Up until last week, FTX was one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges. In the Bahamas, it broke ground on a multi-million-dollar headquarters, held a very successful crypto conference in the summer, sponsored numerous events, made dozens of charitable donations, and promised to help transform the country's digital financial landscape. But that has all unraveled. The Americans are comparing the implosion of FTX to the 2008 collapse of Lehman Brothers. Lehman's failure, or Lehman as some people say, I guess, right? Lehman's failure due to the involvement in the subprime mortgage crisis is considered to have played a major role in the 2008 financial crisis. The Royal Bahamas Police Force said it's working with the Securities Commission to investigate any criminal misconduct, or if any, happened with FTX. So there you have it. That's a couple of the big stories there. And then in the Guardian business section, there is reaction to all of calls on regulators to be better equipped to police crypto. Other companies highlighting that they are not affiliated with FTX, even though they are in the digital space. And everybody's trying to distance themselves or tell people what's needed. Okay, so let us get your reaction to all of this, folks. Let's hear from you. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Wow.
I think from what I've read, a lot of this has happened between this relationship with FTX and the sister company, Alameda. And what appears to be happening was money was funneled from FTX, given as loans to Alameda, and then they were using the FTT token as collateral. So when CoinDesk got a hold of their balance sheet, they discovered that there was some stuff going on in terms of, and actually Alameda's CEO confirmed it, in terms of these off-balance sheet type loans.
Yeah.
And so it just blew up the market. People just started to get frantic. And so obviously the value of those shares those tokens would have declined.
Yeah.
And these tokens were being used to prop up
Right.
the loan given to the parent company.
Yeah.
So, but my question is, if what I'm confused about, if FTX is an exchange, what are they doing? Because, I mean, just think about our local exchange. You buy and you sell, right? You buy and you sell, you cross it, and that's it. The exchange gets commission.
They don't hold your money.
Yeah. So what clients...
Yeah. Well, it's that token thing. That's causing a lot of
Yeah, but how is it that they got this money that they were able to send over to their sister company and cause all of this? Did they have a license in the Bahamas to handle clients' money like that?
Yeah, well, I guess it's FTT that was the real spark there that's causing all the problems.
Yeah,
Right?
their
That-
share value that
yeah.
declined. But then, what did FTX license entail? Were they
Here locally.
operating in accordance with that license that
Right.
was given to them?
Yeah, this is why people are using the words Ponzi scheme, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
it sounds like that. You know, it didn't have it yet, but you call it cashing it in when hold off, wait. I don't know. No clue. But let's hear what you're saying. Let's go. We got a lot of text messages and calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight, and good morning, Pam.
Hi. Good morning.
Yeah, Dwight, first of all, you need to bring those folks on your show who promoted this thing. They almost convinced me, like, to invest in it. Thank God I didn't invest.
How could you have? I mean, who folks you're talking about?
Huh?
Who folks?
Do you want me to go on there?
No, I mean, who folks? I mean, you don't have to call
The
names.
folks who go on radio that's in the past and promoting Bitcoin, one in particular place.
Well,
yeah.
nobody's mentioned Bitcoin at all. It's not about Bitcoin, but I mean, but you mean who talk about crypto? That's what you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is one company that's having an issue. Doesn't
Right,
mean
but
that
one-
all of them are like that.
One particular guy, not only on your show, but on other shows. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but
again, that's one company having an issue. Doesn't mean that everything is challenged.
And as an investor, you have to assess risk and return with your investment. About 3 weeks ago, I had a family member that came to me and they were talking to me about crypto. They want to get into crypto and what I thought. But I never regulated a market. And I've heard of persons getting scammed in the market. Like when you part with your money, you got to be very careful. And so I wasn't hyped about it. But I was telling them, I said, it's a very risky venture. And if you don't mind losing the money, then you could go and invest it. If you lose this money and it's a big concern to you or it will affect your financial position. But if you want to gamble a little bit and see how it goes, I don't know how they were going to do it. They didn't tell me how they were going to do it. I didn't ask. But that's the advice I'd give. So as an investor, I don't care who comes to you. You have to assess the risk and the reward of making an investment.
Right. Yeah.
And never put more money than you can afford to lose in one
Absolutely.
single investment.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Johnson.
Good morning.
To ask at least, I think, 6, 7, maybe 8 questions all at once combined. Pam, you're absolutely correct. That's the question that perplexes people around the world concerning this. How does an exchange regulate an exchange? And because essentially, when you have, and for people to know, cryptocurrency is supposed to be a decentralized, permissionless system. Then these exchanges pop up, which makes them centralized, and then they exchange. You want to buy crypto, you want to buy Bitcoin, for example, and I want to sell. They act as the intermediary because essentially, from person to person, there was no way to instantly, for instance, I'm giving you cash and you're giving me Bitcoin. If I transfer the cash to you, I could just also disappear, so there was no way of enforcing, which created an opportunity for these centralized decentralized exchange to come into existence. Dwight, you said something about Ponzi. If you actually go to Bloomberg, the notable finance, Sam Bankman-Fried on a podcast explained that it was a Ponzi scheme. But his explanation was that in the digital world, it isn't because nobody says it is. That's an actual video podcast that exists. When they talk about Bahamian account holders, they're not necessarily talking about Bahamians. They're talking about Bahamians who was facilitated through the FTX digital market or Bahamian market, digital market. So in essence, they were looking for anybody that held what is considered, for lack of a better word, a Bahamian account. Now, the problem with that is that you could have been anywhere in the world, and where, say, you're in a particular place that has a restriction of dealing with these, but not based, they could have funneled you from anywhere in the world through this particular arm. This is why he had multiple places set up, and even for the FTS US, the US had some more stringent requirements, even for reserve. That's why you saw the 5% of FTX was almost somewhat preserved, which is now being questioned, is because, again, regulations provide these type of environment. So essentially, the FTT, which was the FTX Cube token, was basically supposed to be a facilitating reward type environment. The problem is that when they began to assess value to it and begin to use it as collateral for even stock offerings, etc., rewarding people who support them in these tokens and whatever, it then became to have the so-called superficial value. But the problem is there's nothing that was backing, in fact, nothing backed any of these cryptocurrencies. And so essentially what Sam Bankman-Fried did was his value and his multi-billion value was because of the value assigned to these millions of tokens that he assigned himself, that he just printed out of thin air. So
and not to interrupt you, but use his money to prop up the value of those tokens.
Yes,
because they were hedge funds and trading. So he just used his sister company to make this thing valuable, to turn around and take client money to use the token as collateral.
Excellent statement. Here's it, Pam. C. Allen Johnson started a digital company. I print the critical thinker token. I print 50 million of them. What I do is I assign an artificial value of $100 each token. I then sell you $15 billion worth of those tokens.
Wow.
The problem is Palm doesn't have $15 billion. So what I do is I take an IOU from Palm saying, okay, you're going to pay me when you get the $15 billion. I now promote that I've moved 15 billion of these things at $100, and you all need to get in, fear of missing out. So people start to begin to buy the other wordless tokens and assign value to it. The problem is that I already know Palm will never be able to substantiate this. So now I sell another million of them for $100. I now have $100 million that make me seem as if I'm successful and doing whatever, because I get cars, I get jets and everything. But in essence, the $15 billion worth of token Palm have doesn't have anything. So now what happens is Palm needs money. So these people start dumping money onto the exchange. I need the proper Palm. So I take the physical cash, the fiat, and begin to utilize it and let Palm use it as loans, etc. And then Palm then take gambles on other tokens and other investments, trying to make money off the actual fiat, because nobody wants to trade a token for a token. In the purest sense, for investments, everybody looking for their individual tokens to basically go up. Another point you mentioned, right, I'm trying to remember this out of my head, the assets in the Bahamas. The problem is that even though the assets here in the Bahamas is here, that is the physical assets. The question that has to be asked is, where were the servers? Because when you mention this concept called cold storage, all that means is taking the server or whatever off the internet, because so it can't be hacked. No type of regulations we need. Where in the so-called data economy, you would require, if you're going to be based in the Bahamas, that the server be here in the Bahamas. The same way they did with the gaming type of individuals. You set up laws for which you can seize a server or stop access to the server to put things in cold storage. Let me tell you why that's very valuable. You saw the price of Bitcoin drop. You saw it shoot back up. And so what happens is that's because the market is afraid. Now, had we had the ability to seize all of his servers, across the whole thing, what would happen is the market would have taken a wait and see, because nothing would have moved. Like I say, nobody moved, nobody get hurt. And so what has happened is that security would have brought security into the marketplace, and those coins would probably go up. So that means, let's say he had $12 billion in coins on the thing. but he owes $20 billion, so he's lacking $8 billion. Because the coins that's actually on the platform goes up, the value goes up, and the liquidator now has more than enough to make everybody whole. And so the problem is that you have multiple servers around the world. The world's largest Binance. Binance is everywhere but nowhere, because nobody knows where the servers are, nor where anything is. And so this is where you have these these multi-layered agreements, like when you start talking about the digital economy. And so I say that we have some assurance to the fact that the guy from Enron is taking over. We have these. I can see two treaties coming into play in this. The Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty. I guess we'll have a conversation concerning the United States, concerning FTX, the Bahamas, as well as with other countries. But I also see the Mutual Tax Exchange Agreement, and these are ramifications that we have to be very, very careful about. But not to run on, but if we look at this from a holistic standpoint, we can look, but it cannot be from an analog standpoint, the way we think BISEX works and all these other things work.
Mm-hmm.
We are now talking about a purely digital environment. Like I said, Binance only have locations to facilitate countries who would prohibit this made little agreement. So if you say, Dwight, you're a country, you say, you have to have 2 tables worth of sugar. And Palm is another country, say the same thing. So he'll set up in Dwight country so he can serve Dwight and Palm. Then you go to the other place that says, no, you can only have 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. So he sets up another place to facilitate those requirements. So you end up with these multi-tiered places all over the place. Now, what happens now, though, is you see what is happening is that where the FTX US is happening, there's a possibility that once those information is put on that exchange, it may have crossed over to other exchanges, allowing him to have access to the money, bypassing the requirement.
So let me ask you this. So what do you think about reputational damage to the country in the financial services sector here?
I'm saying to you, this is huge, but it's an opportunity, because we are still the only jurisdiction in the world, a real data economy, for which these things live and thrive on.
Mm-hmm.
Cryptocurrency is not going anywhere. Even though we have 12,000 cryptocurrencies, right, 99.9% of them are fake.
Yeah. Wow.
So only about, let's say, less than 100 cryptocurrency has any credibility, even though there's 12,000 of them. Right, if you give me $1,500, within 7 days, I'll have a fully functional cryptocurrency running in whatever name you want. Published, white paper, everything.
My goodness.
So I'm just simply saying that we can use this as an opportunity to look at where the world is going, look at the fact that we have the ability to create legislation for data protection and digital protection under constitutional sovereignty, data protection, constitutional data protection, constitutional data sovereignty, and constitutional data privacy.
Mm-hmm.
If we look at those things,
we can
set a bar that no other place in the world can meet.
Yeah, we can create the legislation, but we need the expertise and the manpower to monitor and enforce.
But just let me understand this, Pam. Do you know those expertise don't need to be in the country? We could then build human capital regimes to move to support them. But the mere fact is, though, that we're going to take, when you want to register in the Bahamas, which gives credibility to them anywhere in the world, these are the controls you must put back on the digital asset, including your server and other different things. And we'll have auditors who have the ability. This is where data protection, the Constitution data protection comes in. Because if we have that in place, a company will be well assured that they can give us their code and we can look at it and audit it, and it will not be violated, copied, shared, or whatever. And so it's a multi-tier discussion that has to have, but this is a deep digital conversation, and the world is going digital, and it would be so great if the Bahamas could lead the way in spite of the black eye we just got.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're asking that. I don't know if you saw that one over the weekend, Pam. In addition to all of this, just the stories that are coming out now, Fortune running that story about, you saw that headline, Sam Bankman-Fried's crypto empire was run by a gang of kids in the Bahamas who all dated each other?
Now, that's misleading. When you read the article, because when you look at the headline, it looked as if they were Bahamians, a gang of kids working at the company. But apparently,
I didn't think Bahamians.
No, but I'm saying
Yeah.
it's misleading.
Some might have thought, perhaps.
But
No.
you read the article; they were saying that they all know each other from college days, and
they came
were,
to the Bahamas.
They were relatively young, and they were all
Living in a
each
penthouse,
other.
dating each other, having a grand old time in the islands.
Well, see, that's that. Make sure that we have
Yeah.
the necessary infrastructure to deal with stuff like that, and not allow, because we do this a lot though. Even in when we were talking about the Grand Lucayan and Grand Bahama, we are depending on people to come in to determine the strategy or the focus point for our investments. We have to do that, even if it means us bringing in people who have the expertise and working with us to come up with something, and then we look for persons or companies that fit the description that we want to implement these objectives and strategies that we have. We cannot just leave it to the foreigner to do that for us.
Exactly. Yeah, because we seem to be relying on FTX to pave the way for the sector, and we'd follow their lead. And that's dangerous stuff there. But we're hoping the Securities Commission can prove us wrong with that. That's not what was happening. But I don't know. This text here that we got called, we'll come to in a second. This person says here, Bernie Madoff perpetuated a scheme in his this might be a technical term, I have no idea, but anyway, but they say, please do not start a narrative or even insinuate that FTX was able to do this because of lack of monitoring by the Securities Commission of the Bahamas. No country would have caught FTX, none. Now, if you have facts to the contrary, then fine. Incidentally, FTX left Hong Kong, and as recently as last week, Hong Kong publicly begged for him to return. We were all duped.
See, the thing about that is, right, this text is telling us not to start that narrative. We aren't starting it. That's the narrative out there already. And that is why our people need to talk and let us know what's going on. Because I don't know anything. You don't know anything. I'm going to read all the articles out there, and I'm going to piece it together and come to my conclusion. And if you want to influence my thinking, then come out
and this is
talk.
What, as you say, people are saying that this could only have happened because they went to a little place like the Bahamas.
The Bahamas, yeah.
That, right, where they don't check for you, and you can do whatever you want. And at the same time, as we're talking about this, then we start talking about Billy McFarland. Like, see what we mean? Exactly.
So they need to speak. They need to talk. They need whatever information that they have. They need to start talking about it because the narrative is out there and it has legs and it's running.
Absolutely. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? No. Okay, let's take the break. When we come back, we'll get to the rest of your text messages. This is Morning Blend Business on a Monday morning here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Dollar, that's what I need. Hey, hey. Well, I need a dollar, that's what I need. Hey, hey. Said I need a dollar, that's what I need. And if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar with me?
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
If you were exposed to COVID-19, have symptoms, or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the 3 Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Abaco at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The COVID-19 test results will be ready in 15 minutes, and the tests are free.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center is here to help small businesses throughout the entire Bahamas. To better serve you, we've made it easier to contact us. Call 461-7232, WhatsApp 359-0626 or 359-2394, email helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com, or submit a ticket when you visit our help center at accessaccelerator.org. The Access Accelerator, empowering small business. We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at Fidel Branches. The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center is here to help small businesses throughout the entire Bahamas. To better serve you, we've made it easier to contact us. Call 461-7232, WhatsApp 359-0626 or 359-2394, email helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com, or submit a ticket when you visit our help center at accessaccelerator.org. The Access Accelerator, empowering small business.
What if I told you that the future is here? That is not some magical door you walk through, but a place we create. It's home. It's a place where you can download a 2-hour movie in seconds and stay connected to loved ones, even when traveling far from home. Where internet moves at lightning speeds, smoother and more reliable than anything you've ever seen. This future-proof technology can take you to worlds that you can only imagine. The future is here. The future is home. The future is Alive Fiber. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 Bahamas.
It is time for your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL. Bahamian regulators, while not at fault for foreseeing the problems that have befallen on cryptocurrency exchange FTX, will need to assess the tools and employees that they'll need going forward to effectively regulate the rapidly evolving tech-heavy cryptocurrency sector. That's according to the president of Caribbean Blockchain Alliance, Stefan Delaveau. He told Guardian Business that assessing all of the chatter about FTX and the ways in which it may have moved client money around, contended that it is hard to tell what technology might have been used at one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges to operate the many facets of the business. Delaveau, who works in the digital asset space, says a centralized exchange using smart contracts that are able to be heavily audited, FTX's fate might have been different. You can read about his comments in today's Guardian Business section. Arawak telling its clients and investors in an email that it is not affiliated with FTX. Many companies in and out of the cryptocurrency space over the past few days have sought to distance themselves from FTX. Now that the company is under the scrutiny and under investigation by the Securities Commission and the Securities and Exchange Commission of the U.S., the U.S. Department of Justice, the Securities Commission of the Bahamas, and the Royal Bahamas Police Force, all investigating. Arawak's co-founder and Chief Technology Officer D.R.C. Raming Jr. said in the email that his company received questions about its affiliation with FTX after the Bahamas headquartered company received international attention for its collapse. Raming saying that, quote, "We received questions from some of our investors in regards to whether there was any affiliation, Please note that Arawak X does not have any affiliation with FTX or any of the related companies. Carbon Management Limited, the company that was formed to manage the government's blue carbon assets, has forecasted that the Bahamas could have 9 million blue carbon credits available for trade by 2030. Carbon Management Director Anthony Ferguson said the company is a new natural asset class that will enter the markets in the coming years. Addressing the CARICOM Pavilion of the 2022 United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP27, on Friday, Ferguson said the Bahamas is poised to take advantage of these new opportunities as it looks to offer the first blue bond offering in another year. Read more about that in today's Guardian business section. And during 2021, outstanding mortgages at the Bahamas Mortgage Corporation rose 12% to $187.2 million. Central Bank revealing this. The data revealed in the just-released Financial Stability Report for 2021, which also showed losses for the Bahamas Development Bank. It said an uptick in unemployment claims led to significant drawdowns in deposit holdings over the past 2 years as a result of the ongoing COVID pandemic. It said neither BDB or BMC attract deposit funding for their lending operations, and they do not represent a systemically important source of credit expansion. It said that BDB, which provides financing for small and medium-sized enterprises, reported a 7.1% decline in assets base to $35.3 million in 2021 as fall-offs in deposit balances due to commercial banks and assets held with other local institutions overshadowed the growth in outstanding loans. Overseas, people still looking to book trips home or to travel during the holidays need to act fast and prepare for sticker shock. Airline executives say that based on bookings, they expect huge demand for flights over Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Travel experts say the best deals for airfares and hotels are already gone. On social media, plenty of travelers think they're being gouged. It's an understandable sentiment when government data shows that airfares in October were up 43% from a year earlier. U.S. airlines reported a combined profit of more than $2.4 Part of the reason for high fares is that airlines are still operating fewer flights than in 2019, even though passenger numbers are nearly back to pre-pandemic levels. And the rapid collapse of cryptocurrency exchange FTX into bankruptcy last week has also shaken the world of philanthropy due to donations and influence of FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried and his effective altruism movement. The FTX Foundation and other related nonprofits, mostly funded by Bankman-Fried and other top FTX executives, says it's donated $190 million to numerous causes. Earlier this year, the foundation's Future Fund announced plans to donate an additional $100 million, with hopes of donating up to $1 billion in 2022. Because of the bankruptcy, that won't be happening now, and donations to numerous nonprofits, even those that have already received money from groups related to Bankman-Fried, are now in doubt. FTX, the hedge fund, Alameda Research, and dozens of other affiliated companies sought bankruptcy protection in Delaware Friday after the exchange experienced the crypto equivalent of a bank run. Customers tried to remove billions of dollars from the exchange after becoming concerned about whether FTX had sufficient capital. Bankman-Fried has resigned from the company. His net worth is estimated earlier this year at $24 billion, has all but evaporated, according to Forbes and Bloomberg, which closely track the net worth of the world's richest people. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX, or recapping the week that was, the local market ended the week with 96,480 shares crossing the exchange, with 20 trades to accumulated value of $552,743. The BISX All-Share Index gained 0.39 points, or 0.01%, to end the week at 2,626.01, 197.77 points, or 17.85%. The week's volume and value leader, Commonwealth Bank, moving 72,500 shares in 7 trades, with a value of $246,985. That's your Market Watch. And that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And tune in to CFAL Talks tonight at 6:30 p.m. right here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
That's what I need.
share with you my story? Would you share your dollar with me? Bad times are coming and I reap what I done sown. Hey, hey. Well, let me tell you something, all that glitters ain't gold. Hey, hey. It's been a long old troublesome road. And I'm looking for.
We're back here with Morning Bug Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Pamela Musgrove. We are talking about Sam Bankman-Fried's company, FTX. That is, wow. Anyway, so we're getting, trying to understand what's going on and getting a reaction to it. Pam, we found something very interesting from a few months ago out of the UK regarding FTX.
Yeah, I'd read a Bloomberg article where it said that the UK regulators issues warning on cryptocurrency and crypto's FTX to consumers. And it reads, the UK's Financial Conduct Authority published a warning to consumers about Sam Bankman-Fried, saying it isn't authorized by regulators to offer financial services or products in the country. The regulator said on Friday, this was on September 19th, on its website that Bahamas-based FTX is targeting people in the UK, adding that investors are unlikely to get your money back if things go wrong, since they won't be protected by the country's ombudsman service and compensation scheme.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this was from back then. They were warning against this. And like I said, my question is, if this was an exchange, if FTX was simply an exchange, how is it going out trying to attract customer monies?
Yeah. We've got a lot of your text messages to get to. Let's see if we can take this call really quickly. Then we'll get to those. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning. How you doing, Dwight?
Hi, good morning.
And good morning, Pam. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good. I'm listening to the conversation, and it's a pretty interesting one, going back to C. Allen's contribution as well. And I'm thinking similar to Pam and a little bit of what C. Allen said, but more to the point of what you made, Dwight, right before your break, where I'm thinking the government of the Bahamas has to be very careful, in my view, how we unravel this entire mystery, because we have other considerations at play. We have to also recognize globally that the financial services industry itself is under attack in our country, right? Right, Pam? That's your industry that you work in as well, right?
Correct.
And it's under attack. And so what that says and what I'm meaning by that is that we have the cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, et cetera, and a major player such as FTX that is headquartered in the Bahamas. The other major financial service sectors around the world don't like that. They already don't like that we have a thriving small percentage of the financial services business that trades on a daily basis. So can you imagine how much dislike our country has garnered by attracting perhaps the world's second largest Bitcoin cryptocurrency dealer globally to headquarter in the Bahamas? And so I'm saying that not to encourage any acts of illegality, absolutely not. But I'm also saying that with a view that we have to bear in mind that we are in an enviable position currently as a small island developing state. We are in an enviable position because we attracted one of the planet's largest players, right? And
you mean FTX? That we attracted FTX?
FTX.
That's not a good argument at this point, considering what's happening.
Palm. The value of on their books, I think they are ranked as the second. I started doing
the third. They were ranked prior to their fall, the third largest third or fourth largest crypto.
Yeah, but Anton, it almost seems like you're suggesting that somebody was gunning for them,
No.
and they did this to themselves, though.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying in actuality is, yes, the Bahamas government has to be seen as taking all of the right steps to ensure that we were conducting business in our country or regulating the industry as we should have, right? We must be out front demonstrating that, because a failure to do that will allow for the players globally who already want to destroy and decimate our financial services industry as it stands, will destroy what could be a cutting-edge business for the Bahamas that could bring about a lot of gains and place us in a further enviable position in the cryptocurrency arena globally. And so we must be out front. We must get out front and stay out front and ensure that it is seen that we can handle this type of business. We can handle this level of business. We are positioned and we are on the cutting edge, and we're going to do what's necessary to protect not only the players who participate, but to ensure that we have the regulatory regime and we are actioning our regulatory regime.
I agree
Okay,
with that.
great.
I agree with that.
Thank you very much. Well, hopefully the actual people who are involved in that will speak out and say those things too, right? Because we all want that, but they need to say what the plan is going forward.
This is a teachable moment, and I have 3 recommendations. One, like I mentioned before, I think we need a level of expertise and manpower to monitor and to enforce the legislation, not only with this industry, but across the industries, it's particularly when we're dealing with international finance. And number 2, I really believe our government officials, not just this administration, but in prior administrations to come, I think they should reconsider taking these photo ops with investors. I think you should get a relatively independent body, and I say relatively because you can't be totally independent if someone is appointing you. But I think you should allow that body to assess, and then if they want to do the photo op. But I think government officials doing photo op with investors, when something like this happens, it just sends a wrong message to the international community. And I think we have to be aware of investors who tack on hotel rooms to get concessions, because I wondered why all of this attention was being paid to FTX, and come to find out that $60 million complex that they were building had someone to put a couple of hotel rooms, and that's so they can get some concessions.
Yeah.
So I think we really need to revisit. This is my humble recommendations. They can take it if they want. They
Sounds
don't
like
have to.
Great
if they
advice
don't
there.
want to.
This texter saying, I see the FTX debacle as a great opportunity for the Bahamas government to set new standards of compliance and operation in the crypto industry to develop more comfort for future customers of crypto companies. These are always teachable moments. The challenge is whether we actually learn.
But they have to get out front. They have to get out front. You can't do that hiding behind in the room.
We understand they say they're working today and they're right, got their hands, they're in the trenches right now, and fine. But you've got to get ahead of it.
Spokespeople, you get the spokespeople out and get in front of it.
Yes, indeed. Pamela Musgrove, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dwight. Have a blessed week, Bahamas.
I'll talk with you soon. Everybody, have a great day, and stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next, and Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business will be back tomorrow morning. I'll be taking a few days off, so I'll talk with you soon. Be safe.